Facebook looks good. The YouTube's still going. I know. I'm kicking it on now. There it goes. You should see it now. Cool. Hold on. They can't hear you. They said they can't hear you. You using your Yeti mic? They said they can't. I don't see the. I can check it here. They can hear me. They can't hear you. All right, hang on, guys. We'll get it fixed. Mm-mm. So it should be showing up down here, but it's not. So say something again, Kev.
Testing, testing. Looks like it's working now.
Yeah, it looks good. Can you guys hear him
Let me know
okay?
if you hear me now, guys.
Eden is so funny, man.
Oh yeah. Okay, they can hear you. It's good. Perfect. Perfect. Welcome in, guys. Welcome in. Sorry for the delay. All right. So now that we have the sound going, we're going to talk about the God concept and what exactly is the God concept. People ask all the time, Kevin, do you God? Tonight, I guess you will find out. Okay, we will talk about the God concept. What exactly is it? And if you believe in the God concept, what all do you have to accept to go? Right. So, I'll talk.
You hear
So,
Kevin better now? They said they can hear you, but you're a little bit low. Obviously, I'm
okay.
always loud.
I think my mic's turned all the way up too.
Yeah, you should be. I think you should be better.
Okay.
Nice.
So hopefully, you guys can still hear me well.
They said you're
Okay.
loud. I don't know. It's mixed
Absolutely.
reactions.
Okay. Perfect.
All right, let me get them on the screen.
Okay. I don't know why, but
I hear the back
okay.
feed.
Yeah, my Facebook it was talking to me. All right, cool. I was just checking to make sure it was up and going. All right. That's stupid, man. All right. All right, so welcome in everybody. I'm glad you guys came in and stopped with us today. Listen to us. Chat with us, of course, comment. We're going to talk about the God concept today. And of course, before we get started, we want to let you know that in the links, of course, you'll see all the places where you can donate. We want you guys to show us that you are getting something useful from the show. And we do that by donating here. $1 or $2 goes a long way. Of course, we ask you to give whatever you feel that you're able or capable of giving without hurting yourself. Okay, so we want you guys to understand we do want you guys and need you guys support. So just before the show gets started, please keep it in mind that we would like and also need your support. And if you are benefiting from this and getting information that you like, please give information, as those funds will be. Thank you very much.
There's literally a Josh Upshaw in Facebook. That's not me.
What's the normal screen we use? I didn't see the comments larger.
Oh, my bad.
Okay, perfect.
I'll move this to the left a little bit.
A little guy, you do not have to be like that. I was used to the beard. Who is this guy? Listen, I told y'all on my Facebook earlier this week, I don't want to hear anything about my beard this week. Nothing at all. Okay? You'll find that even without the facial hair, I'm the same person. Let it go, guys. Let it go. Not going back. I'm not going to grow it back if y'all keep on acting up. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to take everything off and we're going to be butt face if y'all keep on. Thank you very much, Eric. So, guys, before we get started, of course, I'll talk to you guys a little bit about the Black Power Awards. It was very, very cool, very fun, very neat to see people get, the notoriety that they deserve. That was inspiring. Hopefully, I can be a part of something like that next year. This time, of course, I was just there as a spectator. But it was definitely very, very good. Something to be a part of, no doubt about it. But it just was really nice seeing so many people come together and appreciate each other for the hard work that they do. And most of that work, goes unpublished or, it's not on a large platform. We do this stuff on our own for the sheer fact of wanting to help people and save the world or change the world. So to see people actually getting, recognized for their efforts, that was a beautiful thing. Met a lot of people, network with a lot of people. We'll continue to look for to talk to those people soon and do some projects with them. So definitely, thank you so much for the donation, 27 Nicoles. Thank to Eric Smith already. If I did not, thank you very much. All right, so here we go. Are we talking about? Thank you, Conscious Queen. We're talking about the God concept. So we're going to talk about the God concept and how it is that you necessarily receive the God concept and why it's so hard today for many to break away from that. Like if you were to say out loud, I don't subscribe to a belief in a God, that would make you sound as if, or go by the name atheist or the title atheist, right? Because this word God, this concept, this word God has been given to us and we've been told pretty much how to see this word. And now, because so many of us has accepted this term, it's hard to move forward without kind of letting that word go, and it becomes difficult. But what is this idea of God? If you don't mind, just for comments, just to make sure you guys are a part of us today and you guys are excited and ready to rock and roll. When you hear the word God, what is it the first thing that comes to your mind, if you don't mind? You hear the word God, what comes to your mind? First thing that you would say. Waiting for your comments. Well, a lot of y'all say run. I mean, the God concept, though. Sky Daddy, okay. A superior being. Deidre Scott, okay. Someone said dog, right? Jealous. Christian, you think about church. Okay, all powerful, because you're taught that God is all powerful. The creator, right? Peace. The universal creator. You think about religion when you hear the word God. Consciousness, someone said. Father, that's good. Fear, God, life, Father in the sky, absolutely all knowing. They coming through fast. Wow. Man-made allegorical characters, supreme consciousness, something in the heavens, right? Something bizarre, vague, ambiguous, if you will. Can't quite put your finger on it. Powerful being in the sky, Black Caesar said. Big white hand in the sky, right? I like that. Honestly, these are things that you think of. Immortal being greater than yourself, absolutely. Omniscient. Someone said Jesus. Okay, and that's absolutely understandable. We obviously understand why someone would think Jesus when they hear the word God. The two go synonymous, right? We've been taught to see it that way. Untouchable, absolutely. Someone said petty. I cannot disagree. Overseer, we get that a lot, right? Something outside of yourself. Exactly. I like that, Deidre. An outside entity, Sarah said. Wow. Let's see here. Protector, okay. Creator, someone says my creator. Supernatural being, healer. Okay, so we get all these names. But someone says dog backwards, absolutely. Untouchable, King of Kings. Now we're getting somewhere. Because we have been, now here's the thing, okay. The one to fear, judge, okay, supplier. As these comments are still coming through, I want you to redirect your comments and I want you to say, why? Where did we get all this from? Everything you guys put up here just now, where did you get this? If the person or the being, this being in the sky, this all-powerful being in the sky, omniscient, all-knowing, creator, Jesus, God, if you will, this person has never spoke to you personally. Where did we get all of these attributes that we're applying to the concept of God? So when you hear God and you think powerful or almighty or all-knowing creator, where did you hear that? And why are you saying that? Okay, mother and family, church. Family and church, okay? Tradition, family, taught at home, my grandmother, church. So this creator, this all-powerful being, this omniscient person, this judge, this petty person, this jealous person, if you will, all those names you guys gave didn't give you these attributes to itself or the name to itself. But all of us had a name for it, right? All of us had a name. Someone said Father, of course. And look at here. Where did you hear that? I heard it within my family and church, Jason said. Your pastor. Theology, literature, right? Family, people. You learned that God was a father. You learned that God was a creator. You learned that he was omniscient, that it was a he, that he was all-seeing, that he was all-knowing, that he was love, that he was peace, right? This is what you learn. You learned this, right? So you're not saying something that that you learned. Thank you, LaDon, for the donation. You're not learning something that you, this is not something that you came across firsthand. So someone said that Jesus or the Christian God would reveal himself or itself to people at least once before you die. So each person in the entire world would have heard about Jesus at least one time before they died. And this is what a lot of Christians believe, that at least one time you will hear about Jesus, even if it's via a dream. Thank you very much, Goddess. Even if it's via a dream. A dream. I want you to think about this. If the conceptual God, as we have defined it, spoke to you in a dream and revealed its son to you by dream, wouldn't there be many more Christians today? Wouldn't there be people that wake up in China with dreams of like Jesus, right? Or in places of Africa that have not heard about this religion, or in Dubai, places where they're non-religious at all. Why are they not waking up saying that Jesus spoke to me? I mean, the honest truth is these gods that we do have in this literature that we seem to revere and love and want to please, they seem to not speak outside of literature or people. Okay, so that's why I'm asking today, this concept of God. Most of you said all powerful, all knowing, creator, right? Most of the time, who you're going to say God is who you have made God be to you. And this is why God has so many ambiguous or broad titles. He has a whole smorgasbord, if you will, of titles to go by, so he can be relatable to many people. A mother to the motherless. He's a father, right? There's a song that was very popular called "I Am a Friend of God." I'm a friend, right? A shepherd. All these things God becomes to you. And like people say, my peace, my healer, things that you may need. But the sheer fact is God has never told anybody, or this character or this concept of God has never told anybody any of these attributes about itself, that I am love, I am peace, I am kindness, I'm joy, I'm any of this. These are things that we apply to this. Thank you, Candy. So the concept of God that you guys admitted to, so eloquently, that you guys have all been, I guess, bombarded with information and I guess attributes to apply to this God. In the face of it, you're saying, okay, I have all these attributes that I apply to this God, but I can honestly say that it's never spoken to me straight out. So why do we have a hard time dealing with this concept God, or doing away with it, so to speak? Because the world now is, to me, backwards. If the simple fact that, do you believe in God? To me, that question is not easy to answer straight off, because I know what you're asking me, and no, I don't believe there is a man in the sky. So let's just first start to put it with that. People always say, Kevin, what do you believe in? I don't believe in an invisible being in the sky who judges me and expects me to live a life that it wants me to live, or it'll burn me. No, I don't believe in that. And I would challenge any person who believed that way to challenge their own mental paradigm and push yourself farther. If it's real, it'll be there. So let me just say that first off. People hold on to emotions. I agree, Andy. People hold on to emotions. We're gonna, Josh, do you have that video?
Man, there's too much going on.
No problem, no problem. I'm gonna have Josh play this video. If you guys have not saw this video, I'm gonna have Josh play this video, and this was the video that I put out to announce for the video page called "Limited by Yeshua." It's called "Limited by the Concept of God." It's probably on YouTube. Thank you, LeSean. Thank you, brother. Deion said, I don't believe it either. People like to hold on to tradition, sure.
Oh, my bad. Let me move this window out the way.
All right, so while Josh is working on that video, I want you guys to just think about the hierarchy that comes along with this God concept and how we got it, of course, and think about who exactly are we placing our faith in, because many people accept the belief in this invisible being in the sky due to faith, okay? And they say their faith is in this invisible being in the sky. So a person who they've never established any type of background, moral background, any type of character building with at all, this is the person that they put their faith in. And this person that they're putting their faith in, they only heard about him through someone else. And so the faith is in God, right? I have faith in God. My faith is in God. My faith is in Jesus. Whatever it is that you believe in, your faith is in that belief, right? But I want to show you guys something. Maybe your faith is not in the belief, okay? And I'm going to show you why I believe this. It hit me the other day, but I want you guys to see this. I'll talk about it just a little.
All right, you want me to go ahead and swap it over?
Yes.
All right, make sure this is going to sound correct.
God concept. The concept of God is an invisible man who lives in the sky, who judges, loves, and punishes. He has never been seen or heard from, but narrative says that he has a Son and Holy Spirit whom you need to accept to be with him. Also, they have never been seen or heard from. These gods who have never been seen or heard from supposedly visited prophets and men who have also never been seen nor heard from. In fact, our only knowledge of these unseen and unheard from gods and prophets come from men and a book written by men. What if I told you that your faith is not in God, but your faith is in men?
So if you can, make that video smaller in front of me. I'm going to play a little bit of it in.
Okay.
Keep my thoughts on people exactly what each little thing that I said. Small, it was quick. I want to dive into.
Isn't it God?
So starting off, guys, you saw it said the belief in the concept of God is an invisible man in the sky. This is how it starts, okay? As a child, you just get told about God, right? The ambiguous, the vague, the invisible power in the sky, the one that created you, that loves you. You don't get to see God for yourself. get to hear about God. This is how it works. If you believe in God, then you do believe in the invisible because you have not seen God. It starts off believing something that you have not saw for yourself, have not validated nor substantiated for yourself. You were told that there was an energy outside of you, watching you, loved you, created you, you were the apple of its eye, that it adored you. This is what you were taught. Okay, you have never met this being. So you do believe, or you did believe in firsthand, early on, an invisible person. Okay, so I want to make that clear. You've never saw him. So it starts off you believe in something that you cannot see at all. Now,
You want it like that?
sure.
Okay. If you want me to adjust it more, you can let me
No,
know.
that's perfectly fine.
All right.
All right, so
You can control it through there. Just don't readjust the window size. It'll mess it up.
I'm gonna start it back over, guys. I'm gonna pause it where I need to.
I turned the volume off, by the way.
Oh, okay, I see. I'm good.
Yeah.
Limited by the God concept. The concept of God is an invisible man who lives in the sky, who judges, loves, and punishes. He is never says that he has a Son and Holy Spirit.
So,
Holy Spirit, whom you need to accept to be with him. Also, they have never been seen or heard from. These gods who have never been seen or heard from supposedly visited prophets and men who have also never been seen nor heard from. In fact, our only knowledge of these unseen and unheard from gods and prophets come from men and a book written by men. What if I told you that your faith is not in God, but your faith is in men? Limited by the God concept.
all right, so let's start from the bottom, the very bottom of the end of that video, when it shows you the people believing the priests or the representatives of this information, of this literature. So here's what you have. You have a God that you have to believe in based on your parents' emotions, or the people who are teaching you based off of a conclusion that they came to that was premature, and honestly, they accepted a belief off need, okay, more than likely, or tradition. So now they're teaching this to you, and it's obviously not because they've heard from this person. Why are they teaching this to you? Who did they hear it from? Because when you trace this literature all the way back, there seems to be no evidence of the people who even wrote this stuff literally existed. So I want to talk about this today because we talk about faith and how faith is the substance of things, or the evidence of the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. And we cite, passages that say things like faith is a virtue, right? Faith is powerful. It's magic. It's one of those things that you have to have if you're going to believe in God. So faith is very useful to a believer. You can't do it without faith, right? Without faith, you can't get God to act, right? You need faith. God requires you to have this. But what exactly is faith? Well, we say it's, the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things unseen. But no, let's be for real. What exactly is faith? Faith is when you trust someone. Trust. How is trust built? Trust is not built with someone you've never met or saw. That would be impossible. You would have no way of knowing what type of person they are, how they would respond to any situation, to even be able to say you're building trust. You've never met the person. I can't even begin to tell you how much I trust or don't trust a person right now who's in Japan, because I wouldn't even know who we would be talking about. It would be silly to even discuss it. So how do you have faith in a being that is completely ambiguous? You've never met before in your life. You've never saw it before in your life. How? The faith is not in the being. The faith very well may be in the people who taught you this. But let's talk about it. We use the word faith not just with religion. We use the word faith when we refer to people, right? Like it would be safe for Josh to say, man, Kevin, I got faith in you. It would be safe for me to say, Josh, and I got faith in you, brother. You can do this, right? If I said that, my faith is coming from somewhere. I know Josh. You see what I'm saying? I know you. So the faith is built off of something, off of a relationship. See, I said earlier this morning on Facebook that I was honored to have someone like Josh as my friend. The reason I can say this is because I didn't just meet Josh yesterday. You see, I can feel confident in putting that up there because I have a history established with Josh. This is how people build faith with each other. They don't just walk up to people giving them faith. Okay, faith in God is built on totally different principles than the actual faith that we use when dealing with people. Totally different faith. Faith in people is built. In fact, Josh could do something that would cause me to lose faith in him, right? This is possible, right? Josh could do some things that make me question his character. I may begin to lose faith in him. And here's the thing. Let's say one of you guys came to me and said, oh, okay, Josh is doing this, Josh is doing that. Okay. In my mind, at first thought, I would say no way, right? Because I feel, now again, we already talked about this. Feelings do not substantiate claims or unsubstantiate them, period. But I would feel like that cannot be true if it was something that Josh was doing negative towards me. I would feel like that. But no matter what my feelings would be like, that would not make it the case, right? The sheer fact is you have to look into it. Because I feel like Josh wouldn't do or say something doesn't make it the case. Feelings are not how you do it, right? You need more than that. So you need actual evidence and facts. So when you're talking about someone says something negative about you or Josh says something negative about you, what I would do is I would take the time to hear that information. Now, upon hearing that information, I may investigate, but at least there's somewhere I can go with it. When you guys hear information that's contrary to your God's belief or your belief in your God, you don't want to even go. You don't want to investigate it at all. You'd rather assume that upon investigating, God will come back clean anyway, because God is perfect, right? God, someone said Josh can do no wrong. This is what we believe about God. God can do no wrong. That's what we believe about, God. He can do no wrong. So let's talk about that. Why is it that God can do no wrong? Is it because God can literally do no wrong, or is it because we have been taught that God can do no wrong? You have to remember what came first. Thank you very much, brother. Thank you, Reese. You have to remember what came first. First, you had the belief, and with this belief in Sky Daddy, right, or the invisible God that lives in the sky, you get attributes. Perfect, right? Someone said all-knowing. Someone said love. You get all these attributes to go along with it. God does not make mistakes. He'll be there. He won't be there when you need him, but he'll be there right on time. He's an on-time God. Yes, he is, right? What you going to say, Josh?
A lot of the apologetics always say he's the standard of all things, like all righteousness.
Absolutely.
So,
you cannot have morality without this majestic, all-knowing being, correct?
Yeah, he's perfect. He's the standard of what everybody should be, no matter what he does, no matter what he instructs.
Right. But is he really?
That's usually what I hear.
And that's the thing. Is he really? According to whose standard is this character in this book perfect? Right? So let me show you. So let's just talk about just a little something. Josh, if you could.
Do you still want that YouTube window showing? It's just text so far.
I'm pretty much done.
Right.
I want you to go to 2 Samuel 12 and 8. Look like you had a book or something. But you can just go get the picture for me.
All right.
But anyway, guys, so here we go. You're dealing with this concept of God, right? This conceptual character that you believe in because your parents taught it to you. But again, their belief is substantiated by feelings, emotions, right? If you were to ask your parents today, why do you believe in Jesus? They will start telling you, because I just know he real. I just know he is. Instead of giving you like direct evidence proving that this God is 100% real, they would give you all type of other reasons why they believe in it. And it's going to be more along the lines of they felt it because they have not saw it either. You see what I'm saying? They have not saw it either. And that's the facts. They have accepted the belief, and by now, it's 12 and 8. I can say 12 and 8. But by now, it's solidified in them. And when you ask them about it, they're never going to give you solid information or even logical information as to how they came to the conclusion that Jesus is the Son of God and God is the Father of Jesus and they all real. You know, how do we get there? Again, when you talk about Paul, I listed prophets there. I'm just going to go through your prophets. Let's talk about Abraham. Abraham is iconic. Okay, Abraham is mentioned in 3 religions. That's Islam, Judaism, and Christianity. Okay, Abraham is the father of all 3, so to speak. Right. Now, each one of them records Abraham as having a one-on-one conversation with God. Each one of them do this. However, where is Abraham? Why didn't Abraham write anything? Where is the proof? And the Bible says Abraham is an allegory. Now watch this. After Abraham, you got Moses. Now, if you want to take Abraham, Moses, then you got the Quran's Muhammad. You have these men who are saying that they witnessed God. Moses supposedly saw God in a burning bush. Who was there to validate that? No one. Yet we believe it. Why? Thank you. Thank you, Protein, for playing. So why is that?
I put the scripture up, by the way. Okay,
cool. Whenever Moses was asked to go to the top of Mount Sinai by God, God told Moses to make sure that no cattle was on the mountain, nothing was anywhere that could witness Moses getting the 10 Commandments from God. Why? Why did everyone have to be gone? And I say this from a standpoint as if this story actually happened, as if there was a Moses who got caught up, because there was no Moses. According to reality, according to his history. So when you're dealing with Paul, who had a premonition, you're dealing with Muhammad, who had a premonition, Abraham, who had a premonition, and then you're dealing with Moses, who all had premonitions. Now, none of them can be pinpointed. It's actually writing the literature that was supposedly written from them, or describing the experiences that they experienced. No one even knows who wrote this stuff in terms of it being someone actual who meant this stuff to be, given to us. Thank you very much, Samuel. I don't know why. Forgive me, guys. My allergies are active. But so why do you trust the information? You're not trusting. Your faith is not in a God that's above you. You see, if your faith was in a God that was above you, you would still be able to question literature. If the God that you say you believe in, that's in the heavens, that's outside of you, that is all powerful, all wise, why is it that you still can't question the literature? Because that God has not told you that was his word. Why do you believe it? Papa said, well, let's be clear. We all talk to our innocence. Let's not be spooky with it. You don't have to be, right? You can, whenever you talk to your inner self or what we call a higher self or whatever, that's the same thing that Christians are doing when they're praying. They just say that it's to God, even if they're just clearly thinking in their mind, and they're saying, I'm having a whole conversation with God, and he talking back and everything. You see, and it's funny because a Christian will say, but that's true. This happens. Well, what does it mean when Muslims do it? What does it mean when Buddhists do it, or whoever else that believes in a God outside of themselves do it? Why? Because this is not something that separates you. I always ask, what separates you? It can't be saying the same thing. Thank you very much for the donation, man. Naromi, sorry about that. You can't be going around saying the same things as everyone else to try to prove your God concept to be true, your God narrative to be true. So you got your priests, you got your parents, you got your deacons, your ushers, all the people that's in your immediate surroundings in your life that also seem to believe in these gods. You're surrounded by that. So that's who your faith is in. Your faith is in the people who taught you about God. And the people who taught you about God, most of you admit that they're fickle. Most of you admit that when you got older, you realized that they weren't the Christians you thought they were. They were nobody, in fact, to be inspired to try to be like, right? As they made the same type of mistakes, or even worse than you. They're not somebody who you can say are perfect at all. But yet you still believe in your belief system because they taught you, you see. And that's what's crazy to me. It's like, growing up, my grandmother, she could barely read. And That was about the extent of her knowledge. You see what I'm saying? So I can't expect my grandmother to be able to know the information I would know now if she were alive. I can't expect that. And so I would have to say, if I grew up under my grandmother's understanding, where she couldn't even hardly read, okay, I would have to, if I was still holding to every little thing my grandmother taught me, you would have to see that I'm not going to be able to move forward, right? It would be difficult, right? Because my grandmother believed, or she said that when it was storming outside, that was because God was doing his work, right? And don't even talk. She turned all the TVs off, all the lights off in the house, and she wanted peace in the house while God was doing his work. And if you talked, she would whip you, right? She would. She took it that serious. So she really believed in it. She was very superstitious. If I had taken what she taught me, there would be times where we would walk to the store, and there was like a big light pole, like on our route to the store. And if you walked on a different side of that pole than her, she would make you go all the way back and go around. That's how superstitious she was. You couldn't put a hat on the bed. There was I forget the holiday, but there was a particular holiday. It's like the day after the holiday, you can't be the first person to go in your house, or you'll be cursed or something like that. And my grandmother, she had came back from dialysis. Okay, she came back from very tired. Okay, my grandmother got really ill at an early age for me. But she came home from dialysis super duper weak, and she would not let me open the door to the house, because she said, you live here too. And the person who opens the door can't be someone that lives here. And if we don't do this, if we do it like this, we'll get, she was saying we'll be cursed. I forget how she put it. I was a child. But I remember she waited until her daughter got all the way to the house and opened the door and let her in her own house. If you open a knife, you had to close her. It was bad luck. And I'm not just talking about just saying stuff. My grandma believed this stuff. Like, I learned this stuff before I did the Bible. Like, she probably believed in this stuff more than the Bible. Like, she was very superstitious. So you have to understand, if I was still living off of what she taught me, I would be doing the same thing and still continuing that stuff. What you guys don't understand is you're doing the same things. It's just backed by literature. So you may say, well, that sounds crazy. Your grandma wouldn't even go in the house. That sounds crazy. Your grandma made you go all the way back just to split the pole. That sounds crazy. You step on a crack, you break your mama's back. Or if your hand itching, you about to get some money. Let me tell you something. I know it sounds crazy, but if this stuff was backed by literature, we wouldn't be saying it was crazy, because more people will be going around doing it, right? Do we not believe that if you stretch your hands towards somebody and pray for them, something gonna happen? Even better, even if you don't touch them. How many times you sitting in church and you see somebody standing up in front of the church and the preacher say, extend your hand towards them, and everybody out there just got their hand out there pointing towards the person like this with their hand, like they shooting daggum Hadoukens and freaking Kamehamehas at the people's back or something. And then, I mean, I'm talking about, you can see them sitting there tired. They've been doing it for hours. They'll go like this. Ain't no power in this, man. Like, some people just lazy and be like this.
That's real. That's usually when somebody comes up to the front and they say they've been struggling. And then when they come up to the front, it's like, all right, we're gonna pray for them. Extend your arms, and like everybody
put their hands out towards that person. Yeah, because they with this mindset that if you put your hands out towards them, something's gonna leave you and go into them. And even when people pray in church, they start lifting their hands. You go up to the church, go up to the pastor, start praying. He's gonna tell you, put your hands in the air. You know what you're supposed to do, right? You know you're supposed to lift your hands up. And this stuff, what does this mean? Like, honestly, like, in terms of reaching a God that's higher than you, that knows everything, that's all powerful, what would you need to do this for? To help you reach it more. Why this? Why knees bending? Why do you have to bend? Why would a God who designed your body also say that bending your knees means submission? Why? This has got to be humans who designed this stuff. There is no God who would say, bend your knees, and somehow by doing that, you love me. That's stupid. Your knees hitting the floor does not mean a thing. That's stupid, right? We have to think about this. This comes along with a God concept. All the other actions that go along with it that we carry out on a daily basis due to believing in this God concept, right? There is no need for that. You're talking about an intelligent being would understand that you getting on your knees would not mean anything. That's stupid. The fact that you think getting on your knees means submission is because you were taught that, period. When a dog kneels, what is it? When a horse kneels, what about a lion, a giraffe? What would a dolphin do? It doesn't have knees. How would it submit? What would it do? What would God require from a dolphin? A worm, if you will. A jellyfish. Think, God, think. It's silly. This is stuff you were taught. We were taught this stuff. And that's, I guess when it comes to the point of trying to, when you start asking yourself about this God concept, I think that we don't really think about all that came with this stuff. Somebody said, man, we've been tricked. We absolutely have. We have been told to do all this stuff. And that's my problem with religion. Once you're convinced and believing in this energy outside of yourself, that it's always right, now you have people who say they represent this energy. So here's the problem. You go all the way back. You have an invisible God who chooses Abraham, who chooses Paul, who chooses Muhammad, who chooses Moses, but not everybody else. I'm just going to choose you. I want to choose Samuel. You know, I'm going to choose Elijah. I'm going to choose these certain people, and I'm going to call them prophets, and they're going to be my hierarchy. Nobody else will hear from me except for them. And the way you know a prophet is lying is blah, blah, blah. How about tell everybody and you won't even need a prophet? This stuff is pseudo, y'all. It's gimmicky, right? You don't understand that. Like, an all-knowing God would see the problem in just telling one person something and expecting everybody to believe it. And it would be silly to say if they don't listen to you, then that means that they're not listening to me, and I'm going to shut my ear off from them because they didn't listen to this frail, fickle man who is a human who God classifies as dirty and not righteous at all. And his righteousness on his best day is filthy rags. And I'm going to use one of these men who are filthy, even in all their righteousness, to lead everybody. And if they don't believe this filthy man whose heart is above all things desperately wicked, I'm going to turn my back on the people who didn't believe the desperately wicked at heart man. That's silly. You see, like, to understand that this God, I don't trust man at all. Man again forsook me. I regretted making man. Your heart above all things is desperately wicked. Your righteousness is filthy rags. Listen to me. Why would God say all of that and then need to use you to set anybody else free? This is all just stories and allegories. What you have to start asking yourself is what did these stories actually mean? Because the literature says the letter kills, right? The letter kills. It's literally saying if you take this stuff literal as the letter and make it real, you in for some real trouble. It's not to be understood that way. It's not literal. If you understand the Bible is literal, God is petty. God is a murderer, right? He's impatient, and he just creates semantics out of the blue. Period. Semantics. What are semantics? Let's see. Semantics are, let's see here. Let's just say objectives to the narrative. Semantics. Jesus having to die. We don't think about this as children. We just learn that for God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son. This is what we learn. That's okay, right? It's not okay, but it's okay that you learned it because you couldn't control yourself learning it, right? But why did God give his son? Well, God needed to do it to allow people a chance to get saved. No, that's not what I mean. Not God had to do it because
somebody's messaging you or something. There's like a phone vibrating on the desk or something.
No, actually, it's actually under me.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I'm a mistake.
So anyway, where was I?
Semantics.
Right. So why did his son have to? And not because God was doing sacrifices before with animals, and God wanted to give his son to show us how to live and his blood of his son. No, I don't want to hear all of that. You're dealing with an all-powerful, all-knowing being. It would not need to have its own son killed just to forgive you. This is a story. It's an allegory. It's a narrative. And that's what we got to understand. Somebody said, get your hands up, it's robbery. It's what it feels like. Every time you leave up out of there, you got less money in your pocket. We were talking about that earlier, how churches became, well, not became, but it's really just a big pep rally. People go in, give their money, and they get songs sang to them. They get up, jump and dance, and they leave. Never once questioning the sheer fact of anything that the pastor's doing with this money they're giving them. We need to wake up. Somebody said it's astrology. Absolutely. It's also about consciousness and showing the brain and how to develop your consciousness and reach enlightenment, so to speak. It literally is. Jesus died at 33. There are literally 33 vertebrae in the spine. So we talked about, I did a video called Truth versus Fact. It's true, the Bible says that Jesus died at 33. That's also true for a lot of the other gods who supposedly died at 30. They died at 33. Why is this? Jesus died at 33. This is in the Easter, during Easter and Passover, which is during the spring equinox. Did you know that the degrees that the sun is in during the spring equinox is around 33 degrees? So when the sun dies on the cross or the crux, right, or dies during Passover, because the sun's passing over, that's why you call it Passover. The sun's passing over, or passing through the spring equinox, okay, and the sun is at 33 degrees as it's doing so, which is Jesus dies at 33. It's really funny, but that's the astrology side or the astronomy side. On the side where we're talking about consciousness, there are literally 33 vertebrae in the spine, which is why masonry goes to 33. This is not something I'm making up. You can look this stuff up. Why is that? Why is that? You have to really understand that there's a meaning to this. Why did he die at 33? Why was he called Most High? Why did he die on a mountain called Calvary? Somebody really quickly, and you can look it up and take the time. I just want people to understand I'm not making this stuff up. What does Calvary mean, or Golgotha? What does that mean? Look it up, guys, if you want, and I'm going to wait until somebody puts that. Calvary or Golgotha. What does that mean? Somebody said the spine is a tree of life. It's also numerology. Absolutely, it's all of that. The Bible's numerology. It's astrology, astronomy. It is consciousness. The Bible is many things, but it's not literal. And that's what we have to understand. It is absolutely not literal. Skull, somebody said, there we go. DeMarco White said, Calvary and Golgotha means skull. Literally, it means place of the skull. So Jesus dies at 33. The 33 vertebrae is at the top of your spinal cord here. And it's right there where your third eye is, or what they call your crown chakra, so to speak. Your brain, okay? And this is what Jesus represents. I promise you, Jesus represents the brain. The 12 disciples represents the 12 cranial nerves. Look it up, 12 cranial nerves in your brain. These things are as above, so below, and as without, so within. The literature understood on that level, like I always say, can help with understanding and also enlightenment. But trying to understand the literature from a standpoint of it being literal, it will destroy you, and it'll have you drink in fairy tale land. Like I always feel like you ever notice how when you're going to sleep, it's cliche, but they say count sheep. Like for me as a pastor, that's how I know I was asleep, because I was taking roll call. My roll call every day, every Sunday was counting sheep as a preacher, like looking out there and seeing what sheep showed up today to hear the word of God, right? And the ones who didn't show up, thinking that either backslidden or whatever, but you're counting sheep, like literally. My roll call as a preacher, my job as a preacher, standing up in front of that church every Sunday, or the Sundays that I taught, rather, I'm looking out in the crowd and I'm doing roll call, counting sheep. And that's what really hit me the other day. Is like, man, I was really asleep counting sheep.
Wow.
Yeah, counting sheep, man.
That's crazy.
It's so symbolic, but they're called sheep. And I'm talking about love it. Like love it. As a child, they call their God shepherd, right? They say that they're sheep. They talk about how a shepherd, when he loves his sheep and a sheep runs, the shepherd will break its leg, just to keep it protected, because a sheep can't survive on its own. Why a shepherd would do it. And it's so funny that, when a slave would try to run, he'd get his foot chopped off. That's synonymous with being a good shepherd too. See, and it's so crazy. It's, you get these names. And again, people talk about a wolf in sheep's clothing. Why would you be worried about a wolf in sheep's clothing if you're not a sheep? Like, I don't worry about wolves in sheep's clothing. If he come to me dressed like a sheep, he in the wrong place anyway. He got the whole wrong uniform to come hang out with me. You need to be a sheep dressed like a wolf. That's how you get in my presence. People gonna say, Kevin said he's a wolf. That means the devil. They'll make that mean something. So if we understand that Golgotha, Calvary, and things like that means, you understand that it says he dwells not in temples made of hands. If you say, okay, well then, why would people write the Bible and write parables and write allegories and not just come right out and just tell people what the heck they're talking about then? Because I believe this stuff is literal, right? I believe Jesus really walked on water, raised a man from the dead named Lazarus. I believe the whole entire world flooded. And I'm just trying to say, why would somebody write out, all this literature and give us, back walls or poetic ways to reach enlightenment when they can just simply tell us this, right? Why would they do that? Let me put it like this. If you're going to take your child into kindergarten, right? First day of school, are you going to teach him calculus? No, your child wouldn't even begin to understand what calculus is, right? You would have to start your child off with basic math, right? And a lot of times, even when you taught your ABCs, it's with a song, right? These are learning mechanisms, okay? So if I can teach you in such a way with like a story, or an allegory or a parable, you may actually understand it better rather than just trying to teach you science. And they knew everybody's mind mentally couldn't handle science. I need to be able to teach it to you in a different way, and that way we can preserve information. If everybody knows the allegories, you cannot lose the science. This is what they thought. If everybody knew the allegories and the parables, you wouldn't lose the science. In fact, guys, we quote allegories to this day. It's so funny, but when stuff is said directly, it really doesn't seem to have as much power, but we love to pull up quotes from other people a long time ago that were said indirectly, because we can look at them and, I guess, digest them in different ways and say what we get from what we think they mean. And oftentimes this is what you do with scripture, which creates another problem. If the scripture is actually from a divine being, that divine being knew what purpose it had for this scripture. It knew what purpose it had for these books. How then could it go get messed up and skewed to the point where you have 30,000 different religious sects of Christianity alone, over 30,000 different sects or different styles of Christianity alone. This is just the people who believe in the same Bible who call themselves Christian. You still have Jews who read the Bible, the Torah, right, or the Old Testament, and believe in the same God. Okay, so you still have Black Israelites who read the same literature in the Bible and still believe in the same beings as well. How is it that you guys have the same doctrine but can't agree on it? If the one true God is all powerful, knows what he's doing, use Paul the way they used him, right? Use Muhammad or what? Let's just not even talk about Muhammad right now. Just Paul and Abraham and all these people in the Bible. Why can't we agree now? Wouldn't God have foresaw this as a problem? That if you continue to teach someone information, I'm talking about wrong information, even if it's from the right book, it would still create a problem. And to use literature to convert the world to believing in you and remain invisible the entire time doesn't seem very intelligent, especially when you have other biblical or literary holy books. There are other books. And so for these gods of these books to remain invisible and let all of us sort it out is not that intelligent, especially when the God's purpose is that you end up spending your eternity with it or him, right? Thank you very much, Dave B. You have to think rationally, right? And it's funny because people say, well, you can't use logic when talking about God. Why would somebody say that? Why? Why can't you use logic when talking about God? So you have to think magic. And what that does is it tells you to just let go of logic and accept crap. And I don't think it's wise to do that at all. It wouldn't be wise to do that with anything else. So why do it with the God? Again, if you accept the belief, you can be manipulated because you believe in it. Faith demands that we disregard A, the absence of expected evidence, B, the presence of conflicting evidence. So I'm going to say it again. Faith demands that we disregard A, the absence of expected evidence, and B, the presence of conflicting evidence. Now let's talk about it.
Say that one more time, Kevin, because I think you cut out a little bit.
Sure. Faith demands that we disregard A, the absence of expected evidence, and B, the presence of conflicting evidence. Now I'm gonna do this slow. So faith demands that we disregard the absence of expected evidence. Disregard the absence of expected evidence. For instance, if I were to say, I know a God, I come up to you personally right now and say, I know a God. If you pray for something, he will answer it. 100%. If you're sincere and you have faith and you believe in my God, he will answer it. Now, your expected evidence would be to pray for it and get an answer, right? If I were to tell you this, if I say I pray to a God named Juco, right? And if you pray to this guy Juco, Josh, your prayer will come true. What is your expected evidence?
That what I pray for comes true.
Absolutely. But faith is asking you to disregard that. The fact that you ask Juco for something and you don't get anything in return, you're still supposed to believe in Juco. How the heck does that? Right. But how does that help you? See, and here's the thing. For people who believe that, even if you do believe that, does Allah work in mysterious ways? Does Krishna? Does Vishnu? Does every other person who believes in their God get to use the same excuses as you do? Think about it. Right? I have to do away with the absence of expected evidence. So everything that I would expect a person or a being to do to prove to me that that person or being is who they say they are, I now have to disregard that. So I have to take you on faith that you are God. And I ain't even met you. I'm taking God up on faith based on what somebody else taught me, bro. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? How you taking God on faith over something that my mama taught me? That's crazy. See what I'm saying? Your faith is in your mother. You believe that she wouldn't teach you a lie. But can your mother be wrong? Can we start there? Can your father be wrong? Do you know any moment in your mother and father's life where they were not perfect?
I wish I had the water boy clip.
That would be, I promise you, man. It's easy to find, but if it wouldn't, I would hate for it to use in somebody, they try to hurt me on
it. Yeah.
Basically, he goes inside of a classroom and they ask him, what's the reason for rainbows? And he says, well, mama said that rainbows come down when you're feeling blue or some bull crap. And it's like, no way, that's how it happens. Okay, then they go, why do alligators get angry? Because they got all these teeth and no toothbrush. And this man he learned this from his mother. At this point, he doesn't know his mother lies or doesn't know that she's not telling him the truth. He doesn't know this, and he's in school, right? So when at this moment, everybody's laughing at him about alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth and no toothbrush. I don't know why I remember that, but everybody's laughing. Like, where'd you get this stuff from? No, alligators are ornery because they enlarge medulla oblongata. And not Billy Madison, but he's Bobby Boucher gets angry, gets mad and like, no, you wrong. Like that's cognitive dissonance, right? At its best. He's angry now. No, you're wrong, Colonel Sanders.
He was like, Mama's wrong again.
Mama's wrong again. And no, you're wrong. No, Mama really is wrong, dude. Like, you really need to do some freaking research. Alligators do not even brush their teeth. They don't even know what that is. Like, what you mean? To even want one. So that's silly, right? And why would a rainbow appear when you feeling blue? Like, that's silly. Like, you know how often people are feeling blue? People die of hunger and starvation every day. There would always be a rainbow in the sky. Trust me. Every day is somebody's bad day. It's somebody in this world is blue every day. So let's be and there is a rainbow in the sky every day, but there'll be one visible to everybody because somebody in your city jacked up. Trust me, every single day, somebody waking up sad in tears and going to sleep in tears. Believe me. So now you have to disregard expected evidence. So now that's almost like saying Josh killed a person. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is say who. Now, if me going and picking up Josh and taking him to jail without even so much as finding a dead body, that's a number one problem right there. Now, we ain't even proved him to murder anybody. I just simply arrested him because somebody said he killed someone. We don't even know who's missing. And this man is in prison now. You see how crazy that sounds? Invisible evidence. It means that I don't need any evidence. I'm just going to, I believe it. That you can't do, it don't work like that.
Your laptop plugged in?
Yeah, I did it earlier. So yeah, guys, it doesn't work like that. You have to be able to substantiate your claim in some way, somehow. We have to start considering this. You know, you can't just take everything that somebody's saying.
You're good. That's charging.
Perfect. So that's why I say we gotta grow. We gotta grow, y'all. Like we really do. So we have put aside expected evidence. So let's talk about disregarding the presence of conflicting evidence. Now watch this. Josh killed Kevin. Now they didn't just say Josh killed someone. So now that he gave a name of the person who he killed. Josh killed Kevin, right? Me. But I'm still sitting there here on this live. Now, what that means is someone would go arrest Josh even though I'm still alive. Do you see how crazy that sounds? There's clearly conflicting evidence to what the person originally told me, is that Josh killed someone that is obviously, you can find them and see that they're still alive. I'm ignoring this evidence and going and hitting this person with the penalty of doing what he was accused of doing, even though the person who he's accused of killing is still alive. When you hear conflicting evidence about your God, not being not real, but just not being perfect, you can't even hear it. That scripture again, Josh. I'm sorry if you're ready to put it
up. I think I can throw it back up. Samuel, right?
Mm-hmm. So evidence that's conflicting. I'm just going to read to you a scripture. This is 2 Samuel. Okay.
Okay.
This is 2 Samuel, guys, of course, 12 and 8, where God is talking to David. And he's talking to David about Uriah. Okay, so he's telling David this. I gave you your master's house and your master's wives into your arms. And I gave you the house of Israel and of Judah. And if this were too little, I would add to you as much more. Now, and you can remove that now. And even on the other scriptures, he says, I would have given you more. I would have even given you more had you wanted and desired more. Now, I'm sorry, leave the scripture up. My bad, Josh. You just had the one big in front of you.
Oh, my bad.
Okay. All right, so we're going to look at this scripture. Now, I want you guys to see something now. I gave your master's house and your master's wives. Now, who is he talking about? Who was David's master? Saul. He gave David Saul's wives. Okay, so think about this. Why can you give, or how can you give someone else's wives? Just think about it.
I need the Jeopardy music.
Because this is what we're talking about, guys. When you're dealing with this literature, we read through this literature and we don't really see the problems with it. There's so many things wrong with this particular sentence here. I gave you your master's house and your master's wives into your arms. So David's wives were Saul's former wives, right? So David has Saul's wives. I gave you them, but yet you still want to go mess with somebody else's wife. This is a conversation between God. Uriah the Hittite. It discusses in the scriptures after this, saying you still took another man's wife, right, or another man's property, right? Because it was irrelevant that Uriah's wife or Bathsheba is a human being. God is only upset because he took another man's wife or another man's property. This is the only problem with it. Okay, David was allowed to have as much sex as he wanted, to be frank, as many concubines. You just weren't allowed to touch another man's property, as a wife, if you will. And Christians, if you're on here and you don't believe me, you can look this up. There's not a problem for a man to rape a woman in terms of him being punished by murder, unless, of course, that woman is married or engaged. If she is not, she is free game. It's as horrific as that sounds, it is true. Okay, so David took Uriah's property and then had Uriah killed. And God tells David, I gave you Saul's wives. I gave them to you. I gave you the house of Israel, of Judah, right? And if this were too little, I would have even given you more. What does that mean? Because it looks like he is giving David stuff from other people. He never created anything special and gave it to him. He just giving him stuff from everybody else, secondhand stuff. But how can you give a man somebody else's wives, but then also give a man somebody else's kingdom, and then say, I would. Now look at this. I would have given you more. I would have. This coming from a mindset of an all-knowing God. Thank you, Black Queen. Now, mind you guys, he's fussing at David for messing with Uriah's wife. Now, he says here, I gave you Saul's wives. And then he goes on to say, if this were too little, I would have given you more. Wouldn't he have known that that would have been too little? I mean, think about it. Wouldn't this God have known that that wasn't enough to give David as he still went and messed with somebody else's wife? He would have had known that, right? This is coming from a standpoint of, if there was too little, I would have given you more. If this would have been too little for you, I would have given you more. That does not sound like something an all-knowing, all-powerful God would say.
Nope.
So the presence of conflicting evidence is that you're able to look at this and still say God is perfect. You're able to look at this and still say God is all-knowing. This is what I'm saying. That's a difference.
You still want that on the screen?
No.
All right.
Let's go to 1 Samuel 15. So while Josh is getting that, another one of God's attributes never changes his mind. God is the same yesterday, today, forever. This conceptual.
It was 1 Samuel. What was this?
1 Samuel 1 and 15. 1 Samuel 15. That's chapter 15. First chapter.
Oh.
So one of the attributes that we give to this conceptualized God is that he doesn't change his mind, right? He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. This is what people always say. So let's just read a little bit, and we're going to see if God actually does change his mind or not. And I want to show you what I mean when I say Christians will read this stuff, or believers of this literature, because this is Hebrew Israelites, people who don't go by Christian at all. They'll read this literature and then make excuses for it because they're literally blatantly disregarding the contradicting evidence to prove this person is not all-knowing, or that proves this person does change his mind. So,
did you want the whole thing showing or just certain? Because it takes up a lot of your face.
That's fine. You can actually put that on there, and then I will come back and bring the others.
Okay.
So, guys, this is where God tells Samuel, who's supposed to be a prophet, to tell Saul to do some things. So it says, the Lord sent me to anoint you. Now, listen to this. Samuel said to Saul, the Lord sent me, to anoint you over his people, Israel. Now, therefore, listen and do what's of the Lord. Thus says the Lord of hosts. Now, here we go. Paul has never met this guy before, right? Face to face. He's talking to Samuel. Now, this is assuming, not Paul, but Saul. This is assuming this literature was literal, that there was an actual Samuel and there was an actual Saul having a conversation. So let's just assume this. This is not literal, but let's just assume it was. Okay. Thus says the Lord of hosts, I have noted what Amalek did to Israel in opposing them on the way they came up out of Egypt. Now go and strike Amalek and devote to destruction. All right. All that they have, do not spare them, but kill both man and woman, child and infant, ox and sheep, camel and donkey. All right. That's good, Josh. So God's prophet Samuel tells Saul to go into the Amaleks, right, and kill everything. The camels, the donkeys. Why would God send anyone? He is all powerful. That's what Deidre Scott just said. Absolutely right. Samuel goes to Saul. Now, upon knowing that this character was conceptualized as all powerful, Saul should have said, well, why would God need me to kill anyone as God is all powerful? If the Amaleks are doing anything to Israel, God could simply use his might, the same way he used his might with Moses and the pharaohs when they were imprisoning and enslaving Egypt per literature. He killed the firstborns of Egypt, right? Why can't God do something like that and not have Saul have to go in and kill all the Amalekites, all the donkeys, all this crap? Why? What's the reason, guys? Why would God, who said murder is wrong, tell another person to go and kill people for doing something God didn't like? Paul probably don't even know who the Amaleks are. See my point?
Hang on, Kev. Pause for a second. There's a pastor in the Facebook chat. He says, we use this text and build a discussion about God and Christianity. Now I see why you are an ex-pastor. Sheep will be scattered hearing this kind of teaching.
And see, you call it, and again, he refers to his people as sheep.
Yeah,
again,
really
sheep,
refer to
the dumbest animal out there. Sheep will be scattered. This type of poetic crap. Are we sheep people or are we human beings? Right? We're not sheep. Right? So let's go to okay, pull up 10. 15 and 10.
All right. Yes, sir. I'm just good. Okay.
Actually, yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
10. Yeah, 10.
This one?
15 and 10.
Oh, wait. Let me go back. Hang on, you put it in here because I'm not, maybe I got the wrong one. I told you to stop using your phone anyway. I want you to get used to your laptop.
I don't want to be on the screen.
11.
It's just funny that they do. It says.
Can I go 10 through 11? Let's see if I can do that. Oh no, their stuff works.
No, you don't.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right.
Sheep is the biggest insult. Absolutely, mindless slaves. That's exactly what you do. Call them sheep. Sheep will be scattered, and just to say that, what's that supposed to mean? It's poetic crap. It's just nonsense. And
again, so we preach love, but why do we deliver hate? What is going on, brother? Oh man, we might have to have a conversation with you, man. It's crazy.
Okay, so
it's scary to see, because we've had pastors on before. It's just scary sometimes to just see the people that are actually considered leaders in the community, and they think people in their community are sheep, and they're I guess the part shepherd or whatever.
Yeah. The people in the community are
the
sheep.
shepherd under
God
the shepherd.
chose them to lead their people. All this kind of. Man, we can lead ourselves. We don't need you. We need you to lead us. So watch this, guys. After now, we saw that the first verse starts off with saying God chose you to be king. Now I want you to see this. 11 says Saul says Saul has stopped making me, and I'm sorry I made him king. Right now, this is funny. It repenteth me that I have set up Saul to be king. Now, do you guys not see this?
Oh, my bad. I made it small. There you go. That's
fine. This right here is the King James Version. It repented me that I have set up Saul to be king. It repented me. Now, let's see what version it's like. The Contemporary English Version says that I am sorry that I made him king. Now, we have been taught that God does not change his mind. Now, listen to me, guys. This is David. This is Solomon or Saul being told that he was to be king by a prophet, okay, via Samuel. And now God is saying you can't be king anymore. Is that not clearly God changing his mind? But to a Christian, they would read this information and say, that's not God changing his mind. It's clearly God changing his mind. God once wanted Samuel to be king and now doesn't want Samuel to be king anymore. Like, okay, is that not changing?
I'm laughing because I know it's going to be like, he's taking it out of context.
it's clearly, he clearly changed his mind. Like, okay. 15 and verse 1 says, the Lord had me come, choose you to be king of his people. The Lord has chose you to be king of his people. That's what it says. Now it says that God regretted doing this. Obviously, now, because here's the problem. To ignore this evidence that's clearly contradictory to God, not to God not existing, but simply to him being all-knowing and not changing his mind. If he changes his mind, okay, but it doesn't make him not God. But Christians will still say God doesn't change his mind. Why? Because it says God is not a man that he should change his mind, or God is not, or God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. This is why they say that. But appreciate that, brother. But that's not it, right? We're talking about why is it that you can't read literature and see the problem blatantly here? If it said Judy did this, you wouldn't have a problem with Judy changing her mind. You would say Judy clearly changed her mind. She wanted somebody to be king, and now she changed her mind after he didn't do right or didn't obey her. Wouldn't have a problem. What you're saying is this. God knew when he decided to choose Saul to be king that Saul wouldn't kill all the Amaleks, and then God would feel regret. So just think about this. An all-intelligent being choosing to use Saul as a king. And while choosing to use Saul and sending Samuel, already knowing that Saul is not going to do something right, and then would get demoted for it, but still choose Saul anyway. Do you not see how crazy this sounds? Well, what did Saul do? Because you got to understand, man, God wouldn't have took Saul's kingdom from him. You know, unless Saul did something that was really worthy of having his kingdom stripped from him. Well, let's talk about what he did. Saul was told to go kill all the donkeys and all these animals, right? We all saw that part. But what if I told you that Saul didn't kill all those animals? And in this literature, Saul is let's just go to it because I don't want people to say, you know, taking it out of context. So let's go to I want you to take.
They're gonna tell you that either way. They're gonna tell you that either way.
Of course they. Let's do 13 and 14.
Did it close the window?
You say we?
Oh.
I didn't do the same thing.
I gotta open the window again.
Someone said, what denomination did I belong to? I was actually evangelist, non-denominational. We're going to talk about what is it that Saul did is the reason that God took his kingdom from him. And because we call God patient, that God is all-knowing, God is kind and caring and all this kind of stuff. So we're going to talk about a man who literally just risked his life, went and killed all these people for God. He literally did everything that God asked of him. Okay, except for a few things, and we're going to talk about what those things were just shortly.
What was
what they were? Huh?
What was it again? I had to open the window.
What was the verses?
It was 1 Samuel.
Yeah, 13 through 15.
13 to 15. The first chapter here.
15. First Samuel 15.
15. Okay. It looks funny on the screen. All right, go ahead.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, like I'm looking over it. Nah. All right. So it says, and Samuel came to Saul And Saul said, you took it down.
My bad.
Fine. And Saul said unto him, Blessed be thou of the Lord. I have performed the commandment of the Lord. Now, around this time, Paul has already had, they've already built, statues to commemorate Paul and for killing all these mean people, right? And Samuel said, now this is Saul saying that I performed the commandments of the Lord. I did it. I'm done. Now here goes Samuel. Then why I hear all these sheep bleating in the background? Then, if you did exactly what God, why I hear these lowing of oxen? What is with that? Why do I hear these animals? If you did it, and Saul said, they have brought them from the Amalekites. For the people spared the best sheep and the oxen to sacrifice them to God. Now, God wanted him to kill them all. Now, he was going to sacrifice them to God. So that means that they would have been dead anyway. They would have gotten killed anyway, like we always say at the end of the day, right? They would have been killed. But why is God so furious now? Because he didn't do it the exact way God wanted. And this is the reason God says, I'm going to take his kingdom. I'm going to have you go kill all these people. It says all the infants. It says all the infants, guys. And all-knowing God would not, first off, wouldn't even need Saul to do such a thing, period. He would already know Saul wasn't going to kill all the animals. So why even choose the guy? Why not just go get David now? David's already alive. So why not just go get David now? Right? No, this is a story. This is an allegory, a parable. This is not something that happened, okay, in real history, documented history. Like, it's not. This is a story that you get in this book. And we have been taught since children to believe in this stuff as literal, as if it really happened. Obviously, God cannot be all-knowing in this passage. God cannot be all-knowing in this passage and still be considered loving, because it means that I'm really just going to choose this dude just because I know he's good at killing people. And, it won't be long before I can find a reason to strip it from him and give it to somebody better. Because it goes on after this, and he tells Saul that I'm going to find somebody and place them as king, someone better than you. If someone better than me was around, then why you come and get me? Why'd you have me go do all this killing? Needless to say that Saul, of course, is who David got his wives from. And then David's son, after he messed with Bathsheba, and God killed his son, the son that he had through Bathsheba, David ended up getting Bathsheba pregnant again and having Solomon, which Solomon becomes the wisest king in the world, and only after sacrificing 100 animals to God, or 1,000 animals to God, did Solomon become the wisest king in the world. And you're talking about a being who's supposed to be all-powerful outside of yourself. Why would it require you to kill animals? You're talking about literature. And you're using the concept of believing in God to believe in all this literature too. I believe in God because I had an experience. So this means that Solomon worshiped false gods and had to burn 144,000 animals to keep being punished by God. No way. No way can you substantiate that claim with any direct experience that you had, period, other than actually being there and witnessing this. But we do it. And somehow, when someone says that they don't believe in the ambiguous, they're looked at as a bad person because they don't believe in some entity who's judging them from outside of themselves, who's giving them literature. But again, guys, we got to grow up, because faith is not healthy. If faith is accepting something while ignoring evidence, and why not, and also not asking for proof or evidence to substantiate a person's claim, that is merely a tool to be lied to, right? Use faith so I can lie to you. So if I wanted to lie to you and I told you to use faith, you would have no idea I was lying to you, because you would not be able to use evidence or the lack of evidence to prove me wrong or right. That would be horrible. If someone says, Josh did this, and I just be like, Josh, you did this. That's stupid. I should require some type of evidence to prove something before I start going around acting as if something is true, right? I should. But most of the Christian world, in fact, all of it, okay, goes around teaching something that they don't have any proof over. And we know this because it's believed on faith. We know this. Christianity is believed on faith, yes or no? Everyone will have to say yes. Every religion is believed on faith. Nobody has any answers or it has any solid proof of anything. And so what we're doing is we're taking this concept of God, and early on in life, you're given the concept of God first, told to believe in it because your parents believe in it. And by the time you get old enough to really express yourself, you somehow believe that your faith is in the ambiguous, is in God, but your faith is not in God. Again, it's in people. You trust that people told you about the right God. You trust God, or you believe in the God you believe in, based off demographic of where you grew up. And the people that you grew up around taught you this belief, and now you have faith in this belief. You have faith in people. It's not the ambiguous because you never met God. What was you going to say, bro?
I didn't said, see, you not telling me nothing because you have to believe in something, whether it's a God or not. Like, you see these, like, their logic, like the teachings, like, you have to, like, you have to believe in something, whether it's God or not. You have to.
Right.
Why?
What do you have to believe in to breathe as a baby, newborn baby, right? What do you have to believe in to do any of those things? Somehow, as you get older, to do natural things, and all of a sudden you need it. Like, as you know, when you get older, you know, God wake you up every morning. You know what I'm saying? So you're giving your because you like to wake up and give credit to God for waking you up. It doesn't make that energy exist, or that being that you're praying to or thinking exist. You just believe in it. That's the difference between truth and fact. We talked about this. Truth is you believe in it, and you believe in it based on faith and experience. I get it. You believe
if you have an alarm, if you have an alarm that you set for work, you can't thank God for waking you up. So you would not have woken up without that alarm.
You know how many Christians overslept and lost their job? Thanks a lot, God.
Right. Why didn't you wake me up?
Right. And just to think that this God would be all loving and create you just for you to need to be kicked off every morning, right? Just to be jump started, you know. Who wakes centipedes up every morning?
It's not even like you stop. Your body is still going.
Like the heart still beating. And I'm talking about, man, you can hear loud noise is gonna wake you up. Like anything can wake you up.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah. He woke me up and started me on my way.
If Kevin kicks in your door, if Kevin kicks in the door, you gonna wake up.
Yeah.
If you kick in a Christian's door, they're gonna be like, "Why you with me?"
Stay asleep. God didn't want you to get up yet.
Right.
No, man, we have to get to a point to where we say, okay, how can I think on my own? Because we've been using this God concept stuff honestly for long enough, and you know this video is called "Limited by the God Concept." What exactly?
I didn't name it that. Actually.
No. I mean the video that I posted earlier this week. It's called "Limited by the God Concept." So if you understand that, you know, when you believe in an energy outside of yourself, how can that limit you? Well, Kevin, because, you know, believing in God or believing in, you know, literature, biblical literature, even Quranic literature, people are able to move forward in life when they apply the principles. So, you know, how could you say that? You know, how can the idea or the concept of God limit you? Well, it does. If I can get you to believe in God or the concept of God, a man outside of yourself judging you, I may be able to convince you that this God requires you to live a certain way, right? I may actually be able to convince you that this God created a place for you to go if you treat him right, if you obey his rules. I may actually be able to convince you that this God has a place for you to burn in if you don't obey his rules. You see, there are a lot of things that I may actually be able to do if I can get you to believe in this God. I actually might be able to get you to give up your income to me on a weekly basis. If you believe
10%,
10% of your income, and also offerings and all this stuff, if you believe in this God outside of yourself, and by you believing in that God outside of yourself, and you're beginning to give your money to that energy or to that idea, your money is not going to places that could actually benefit you personally or other people that you say you love, that you see every day driving to work, that need help, that you're sitting right beside every single Sunday, that also need help, but you're giving your money to a church. Why? Because you're convinced that God wants your money, but what is money? It's paper. What is paper? Come from trees, right?
No.
Created by men.
It's sowing a seed. This is an investment strategy. I don't want to really sit down and talk to you about legitimate investment strategies and what you can do with your retirement fund and hedge funds and stocks. No. put money in this golden plate, and about sometime later, you'll get some money back, and credit that to this donation that you're going to put in this plate. That's what I'm going to put in my pocket. Then I'm going to go to a strip club, maybe. You never know. I might just go to Walmart, just spend it. I'm not investing it. Right, your money's not going to a magical place where God is going to say, "Oh, that $50 is from Joanne. That $20 from Claudia. That 100's from Nick or whatever. Like, I'm going to double that." Like, he's not keeping track. There's no receipts. Like, what do you think is happening? They're taking your money.
You know, the crazy thing about it is, like you said, this money's not going to a magical place, right? So if you get technical, it's like when you take your money to this building, you call it the church because it's backed by a 501c3, another document that's on paper. Now you think it's a church, a holy church, because it has a 501c3, which is approval to get government grant. That makes it a holy church because it has a 501c3 and a cross on the building. So you take your money to this church, and you give your money to this church, and you realize your money does not go anywhere but to a bank, right? Period. So why do you think, at what point does the anointing get placed on your money? The money doesn't leave. The money doesn't leave earth. It goes right back into the system that it came out of. It goes right back to the bank to be loaned out to someone else, or it goes right to the store and it's spent on something. You see what I'm saying? So please tell me.
The sad thing is, a lot of that money, I don't want to say a lot. There's a portion of the money that's going towards protecting these kind of dirty priests and preachers and things like that. So when they get caught up in these scandals, they can basically bail them out and keep them safe, legal fees, all that good stuff. So that's also where a portion of the money's going as well.
Agree. Thank you, Tim. Totally agree. And it's one of those things where it's, you look at, like, say, the Jehovah's Witness. We're just now hearing that they have all of these rapists and things like that, people who've been convicted of rape in their cults or in their belief systems. And just like priests, we always talk about Catholic people, how they're known for this, right, molesting children and stuff. But now the Jehovah's Witnesses have several people coming out against them that claim to have been raped and touched and claim to have been paid, a lot of them, to not tell, threatening to not tell, and threatening to be excommunicated, and often threaten to apologize to their own rapists, like apologize to their own rapists for falsely accusing them, right? Even when they really did it, being bullied into not, pressing charges. And these churches, these organizations do this because they say it's so important that we don't allow the negativity of one member or one person who subscribes to our belief to ruin how we all look. So they use that type of thinking to protect each other. You see what I'm saying? And it's like and you have to understand, this stuff cannot be of a holy God. Like, you're hiding behind preaching. And to me, it's like Christians, for sake of argument, they'll say Kevin is causing harm to the body of Christ, leading people the wrong way. Well, you have to understand that
scattering sheep. Absolutely.
There are preachers who preach your literature who rape children. What are they doing? Right? I kind of feel like I shouldn't be your main priority when it comes to that.
I was thinking, like, we should post, because I'm telling you guys, we could really do it like almost daily where there's a new scandal. Like, just in Ohio, there was 3. I saw a lot of the people in our group saw it. 3 Ohio preachers got busted for, like, sex trafficking, all in jail. I didn't post it. I didn't say anything about it. I mean, we could have easily said, why don't you go after them or something? But I don't want it to be us demonizing bad people, because we know at the end of the day, these are just bad people. So, but at the same time, people demonize you worse than they would demonize them.
No.
Because you're basically just saying this book is, is not factual at all. So, but these people are actually saying, oh, it is factual, but I'm molesting your daughter, but I'm molesting your sister, I'm molesting your cousin, I'm doing this in your community. It's like, I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem with Kevin Osley, and I'm going to be on his live feed Sunday and talk trash. It's like that's really what you're doing. Like, That's what you're spending your time and energy doing. It's crazy.
It's crazy because it's like if you continue on just believing what you hear and taking that out into the world and trying to repeat it and continue it, you're going to do nothing but create the same problem. Thank you very much, Ron. Somebody said a while back, the other day actually, I think you talked about this, John. Christianity is bad, wrong, if it's false. Why has it lasted for so many years, right? Why has Christianity lasted for so many years? And I told him, I said, Christianity has not lasted for several years, or so many years for that matter. We teach it, we reteach it to our children, and this is how it lasts. And I was telling you, Josh, that if people live to be 1,000 years old, they would not continue to believe in religion their whole life. Like by the time you're 500, you probably toured the world, probably saw the entire world by then, right?
Seen it all, done it all.
Seen it all, done it all. Now, if you are a child and you're taught that Jesus died for you and one day he's coming back for you, you might live to be 25, 55, 60, 70, 80, 90, believing that this person's still going to come back. But by 500 years old, you'll probably start to say, okay, bruh, it's been a long time. Like it's been a long time, right? After 1,000 years, no way. So they act like Christianity just been out here teaching itself.
They would be laughing at you, bro. They like if 1,000-year-old person, because this is what 2,000. This tale is over little 2,000.
Yeah,
2,000 years old or so. So a 1,000-year-old person will be laughing in your face. Anybody expecting somebody to come back, 1,000-year-old will be laughing in your face.
Literally, I'm talking about knee slappers, stomach holding. Won't be able to breathe. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, it's not. It's been 2,000 years, and the person who supposedly is coming back was cited. Okay, is quoted as saying, "Some of you will not have tasted death before you see the Son of Man come out of the sky." This was quoted by the character Jesus Christ to his disciples. Now, this was 2,000 years ago. Do you think any of them are still alive? You know, and I hate to say still, because that assumes they once lived. You see what I'm saying? But had they lived, if they lived and existed when this was supposedly said, why didn't Jesus come back before they died? It's been 2,000 years. We got to grow up. You know, if you just imagine, man, like if you're sitting around and your information is limited, number one. And this is what they do, number one, to you. When you're a child or when you're a slave, give them literature, because as a child or as a slave, your mind has not processed life yet. They have limited your brain to anything outside of it that can actually strengthen your brain. So as a child, they haven't necessarily limited your brain yet, but you haven't had enough time on planet Earth to be able to really make rational decisions cognitively. You haven't. So if you are a child who's being told about stuff that is not logical in this realm of existence, you may actually believe it, as you don't know that's not logical. See, so if you say there's a being who's invisible that can see everything and know everything, they know what you're thinking and nothing you can do without them seeing it, you might actually believe that, because you wouldn't think of how irrational that is. Right? That somebody can actually see everything that everybody's doing and hear what everybody's doing at the same time. Right? It's not logical, right? And we accept these beliefs without even thinking about it, that some God created us and then something bad happened, and in order to save us from it, he had to give his own son. Why? You're using
somebody ate fruit.
Yeah, because somebody ate some fruit. It's like, and again, we always try to make excuses. If you talk about Elijah and the 42 children being mauled by the two bears, ripped to shreds, okay, torn apart for calling a man baldy, simply calling a man baldy. You'll have Christians who try to cover up for that scripture, man, and say stuff like, well, you know, touch not thine anointed. You know, you cannot justify, you know, a man who's supposed to be a God-fearing man calling two angels two bears to rip apart 42 children for calling them baldy. And I believe the Bible says after that Elijah went on his way happy after that. After seeing 42 children being ripped to shreds, he went on his way merry, like everything's good. See, and this type of literature we got to get past, because if you're going to believe in this God concept, that means you have to accept literature like that and accept it and still believe that God is perfect. Right?
I don't think we fully touched on like how Christianity spread so much, like the wars, like the blood involved, and like the fear.
Oh yeah, we could do a whole show on that.
Like basically, it's not the legitimacy of it; it's the force behind it. As far as not the force of God, I'm talking about the force of man. I'm talking about swords, soldiers, politics. People wouldn't. Like for the whole Gregorian calendar, they made them, everybody uses it because it's for trade. It's for, like, if you didn't use their calendar, they wouldn't do trade with you. There's the actual power behind these things at play by man, not the legitimacy of the literature,
right, or
by God.
And again, people say, what about the Crusades, or what about these men who's martyrs who believed in Jesus and people killed them? Like, let me just put it like this. Christians, if you believe that Peter was really crucified upside down and crap like that, you haven't researched it. Okay? You're repeating something that you heard. Peter never existed. So Peter was not crucified upside down. Peter never existed. It's a made-up story. You have to understand what you're doing here is you're taking stories from the Bible and trying to use them like they're historical. Like men were killed just for believing in Jesus. Did you know people were killed for believing in Allah? People were killed for believing in anything that wasn't Jesus at the time of the Crusades. They killed anybody who was in competition with Christianity. Like facts. Look up the Druids. Look up the Snake people. Okay, look up St. Patrick's Day, what it's really about. They killed these people, okay, for the fact of feeling like their numbers were so large that it would have threatened their new religion, Christianity, by way of worshiping Jesus Christ or Jesus Christos, not Christianity as in Christ consciousness, but the Christianity that you guys worship today or use today to celebrate your God, or the religion that you subscribe to, was literally used to destroy every person who went by a different belief at that time. Simple facts. And let's just say you were right. Let's say Peter did exist and was crucified upside down. Let's say every single martyr who believed in Christianity was killed. Let's say people were still killing Christians today. It still doesn't make the literature true. Like you're using a hypothetical type thing. Well, one day Christians are going to be killed for speaking the gospel. Why are we being threatened if it ain't true? Or why is it in the past that Christians were killed because they believed in Jesus? Again, you're using something that humans are doing and trying to make it justify your sky daddy belief. Not fair, because Muslims have been killed for being Muslim, you see. And there are other countries right now that if you were to announce that you believe in something else, they would kill you for that. There are people right now who cannot leave their religions, and which means that they were forced into it. So if you cannot leave your religion for sake of being killed, how do you think you got in that religion? Probably for the same threats, right? I'm pretty sure that they're not going to say, well, if you accept the belief, if you don't want to accept the belief, you good, you can live here, we won't bother you. But if you accept the belief and try to leave, then we're going to kill you. It just sounds stupid. They're going to force you from the beginning to believe in it. If that's all the information that you have, how are you going to be able to counter that? You see what I'm saying?
And also look at the condition we're in now, where we have a whole bunch of people on here who are, what we call conscious, quote unquote, or woke, whatever you want to call it. I hate those terms. Anyways, these people are not even comfortable to share different information that would be, go against the religion. Just because they know they would be ostracized, they would be condemned at work and things like that. Like, just like you were. I mean, you were the perfect example. That is basically, you made a sacrifice. They crucified you. They crucified Kevin Wesley for speaking out against Christianity. So, and that's how it is now. And not because he's done anything bad. He just spoke his mind. And obviously, has evidence to back it up as well. But that's just the state that we're in, because this is a Christian nation. How does it become a Christian nation? Blood. We all know the story of how it all started here. We don't have to go into it, but we understand how this all got spread. So that's the nation we're in. Hundreds of years later, conditioning and not doing research, and especially you're in the Bible Belt. This is going to be a problem for you. Absolutely. A very real problem. So that just shows it's not about the legitimacy or how large Christianity is. And a lot of people just fake Christians. A lot of the politicians fake Christian just so they can be elected. If you're not going to say you're Christian, you're not going to get elected in the state. So that's what it is. It's not about how legit it is. So it's just
facts.
Yeah.
It's not about the legitimacy of the beliefs as people who gave you this belief. They know that it can't be proven. That's why you're taught to take it on faith. As soon as you can start reading this literature from a standpoint of understanding that men wrote this literature, we know they wrote it. The fact is, the question is why? Did they write the literature because they felt like God told them to? Or did they give you this literature to indoctrinate you? What was the reason that this literature is in your possessions today? That's the key. Because if you're talking about, did men write it? Yes, of course they did. They wrote it. Men did write it. What was the intent, though? Was the intent parable? Was the intent allegory? Was it literal? Was it something that you were supposed to take literal? Right? And here's the thing. If it was something that you were supposed to take literal, how do you know it's from God? Because Josh, I asked you the other day, if I walked on water, and you stood there and watched me walk on water, and you told everybody I walked on water, they would not believe you. Right? Nope. Okay. If they saw me on a video walk on water, they would not believe me. They would say it's CGI, right? It's some type of effect. Where's the green screen, right? It's frozen.
Yeah. Josh doing green screens again.
Right. So they would not believe I walked on water. But why would you believe Jesus did if you've never met him or the people who wrote about him? So they know you personally. They see you. You are a real person, Josh. If you wrote and said Kevin walked on water, nobody would believe it. But if a person who supposedly lived 1,000 years ago wrote about a person who supposedly lived 1,000 years before him walking on water, you would believe it. Do you not see how messed up this is? Maybe you only believe in it because you were told that it was a holy, true book. Maybe you never questioned the fact that Paul could be lying, that Paul may not even exist. Maybe you don't question the Bible because you were taught it's holy, first off. You were taught it's God's word and not to challenge it. This before you was even old enough to challenge it. We all grew up with this type of mentality that it was God's word. I mean, if I'm wrong, tell me, Josh. Who is it? Gracious, my allergies.
I know your allergies going crazy. I'm sorry. My friend was asking me about if I was coming over for Thanksgiving. I'm sorry. I wasn't listening fully.
No, you're good. You're good. Which reminds me, guys, go to my page, okay? As a matter of fact.
Which one?
But Kevin Wesley. www.kevinwesley.
Oh, yeah. That's in the description box, guys.
Okay, absolutely. When you go to that page, you guys will see what I'm having. It's called a Giving Tuesday raffle. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that, but it's a real thing. I'm doing a raffle. Okay, the tickets are $10 each. No limit for the raffle ticket purchases. There will be 5 winners. Here's what you're winning, guys, so I want you to listen closely. You'll be chosen, okay, and announced on Wednesday, November 29th, 2017. Proceeds from the raffle will go towards a sponsored dinner, toiletries, clothing, and other essentials for homeless of a tent city. If you guys don't know what tent cities are, it's large communities of people who have nowhere else to go. They literally are sleeping in tents, okay, outside. Of course, you guys know that Thanksgiving is coming, and for this Giving Tuesday, I'm doing this as part of. If you guys don't understand, I am incorporated now. I am a real nonprofit, so now it's time to be about this work and get out here and feed people. Enough is enough. I've been talking about it enough. It is time. So we're gonna be feeding people, and But obviously, we don't do stuff for show, but we will 100% make sure this is viewable to you guys so you guys can see what you guys help to do. It's $10 for a raffle ticket, guys, and we will be able to go out and feed people, so maybe provide them with what you would want to call a Thanksgiving dinner. At least try to get them something. My goal is to raise $10,000. Okay, if $10 a piece, if we can do this, it would be amazing to raise $10,000. Here's what the winners of the raffle would get: complimentary 2-night stay at the Embassy Suites. Okay, it's going to be in Charlotte, because what I'm going to do is there's going to be a performance where I'm performing songs that have not been heard of or heard on my album. It's going to be done. You will also have a limo to accompany you and a guest. Okay, so if it's a husband, you bring your wife. If it's a wife, bring your husband. Whatever, bring a guest, bring a friend if you want. So it's for 2 people. You'll be able to get a limo ride. Okay, the limo will actually bring you to the place where I'm performing. We'll be able to sit down and have a conversation. All this good stuff. So $10, okay, for the ticket, and everything else is covered. Okay, you got a free night stay, two night stay in a really nice hotel, the Embassy Suite. You get a limo ride, and you also get to come see me perform, and we'll sit down and chop it up. So also you get a signed copy of my CD. Okay, my album. So $10, okay? Just go to my website and you will see exactly how to do everything. Guys, please help me feed the world. Please get on with this and help me and show me y'all just as serious about doing this as I am. This Thanksgiving we could actually do something great. It's short notice, I know, but again, it's $10 or Giving Tuesdays if we can get down with that. I would love to see all of us go out here I would love to see you guys give so we can get out here and make a difference. That would mean a world of difference. So I ask you guys to please $10. You, like I said, you do stand a chance of winning. It'll be fun.
It's on the
yes, it's on www.kevinwesley.org.
The link is in the description.
And I'm gonna say this really quickly too. People say, "Well, Kevin, you got a nonprofit. What you doing?" You know, Kevin is trying to feed the world, and nonprofits are good for people who are giving. They can protect themselves against people who. Okay, so let me just let you guys know I'm already incorporated, and that is in North Carolina. Okay, so you guys are aware, North Carolina does have an act. It's called Solicitation of Contribution Act, or yeah, I said it right, Solicitation of Contribution Act. If you guys give me $5, and you feel like I don't use those funds for whatever I said I'll use those funds for, you actually can have it handled right here. You actually have a backing for you. So I can't be lying to you guys saying I'm feeding the world and I'm not. Okay, I wouldn't be able to get away with it. And even so, what you give to a nonprofit, you get back. So it's not through me, it's through your government. So I did this because I wanted to be able to show you guys I was sincere and to show you guys that you do have something behind you if I am not honest in any way, shape, or form. So I want to feed the world. I do not need a jet. I do not need a mansion. I'm not asking for 10% of your income. Okay, we're trying to do something out here, something that will make a difference for this world. And I believe that we can be a generation to change the world. But in order to do that, I need you guys to give $1 or $2 to my organization so we can get out here and feed the world. It's $1 or $2. Josh said, man, they can't buy you a cup of coffee a month for Patreon. Don't you do enough? Fact is, I do. And the simple fact is we shouldn't have to offer a bunch of benefits for people to give $2. We're trying to feed the world. I thought we all cared about that. I think I'm still trying to figure out what this whole movement stuff is about because I'm out here really trying to free the world and I'm not trying to be here for games. You see what I'm saying? Thank you very much.
The thing is, people give backlash to, again, quote unquote, the conscious community. It's like, what have y'all done? The church is out here doing this and that. And granted, the church is fueled by greed because people, again, believe that their money is going to return to them when it doesn't. But they do give. In fact, at the end of the day, they do give. And then some churches do choose to go out and do good things, have cookouts, and they can feed homeless shelters, and they can, some of you even pay for college. Great things like that. And we can't do things like this in conscious community because people really don't think I guess maybe, I don't know, people don't think we're organized enough, or they don't trust enough, or they don't care. That's the only thing I can boil it down to. It has to be one of those three things. I think we've established
Thank you, Candy.
the trust and the will to do so,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think people truly care, which is
and it's
which is
crazy.
up to them.
That's what would blow my mind. It's like, man, if people only understood, like, not just what I've lost by trying to bring them the truth, but more than what I've lost is like what I love to do is help people in need, and like losing that income and financial income that I was getting from the job, of course. I don't have that now. And it's like, for people who say, Kevin, I support what you're doing, I really do. Like, there's no way you can support me more and show me that other than loving what I love and caring about what I care about, which is like really getting out here and feeding the world. It's like, I know we've seen many people talk about it. I know we see people go to church Sunday in and Sunday out and talk about this stuff, or even people who we feel like is conscious. I'm letting you know I'm not one of them. I really do care about the world. Like, I really do. And I'm not just trying to feed them. I'm trying to build businesses. I'm trying to build communities, okay? Rebuild communities and put people in businesses that can run good businesses. I'm not talking about some temporary fix stuff. I'm talking about things that can really change our world for the better, all right? Like, that's what I'm trying to do. That is my goals. And if the money is there, I will be able to do it. And so I think it's to the point to where it's like, we have to have people who are more than focused on just a movement, just watching a podcast, getting a shirt or two. Like, we really have to be caring about really what's like, why are we doing this? You see what I'm saying? Why are we doing this?
It's funny because the Christians ask us, like, why are you doing this? So in essence, I mean, it's kind of proving the Christians right. It's like, why are we doing this?
Well, and honestly, to this point, when you have people who have been surrounded or submerged in religion for so long, honestly, it's hard for them to give. Like, they have been lied to or manipulated their whole lives, right? So, and especially coming from my background, I was a minister. You see what I'm saying? But people don't really think about this. With his background, even though he did believe in something that was fictitious or something, and if you're a Christian, even if you don't believe in our literature anymore, if the man had a title and a background as a minister, okay, as a preacher, and literally stood in front of churches preaching, why in the world would he be lying to us now? At least if I never took tithe, okay, even as a preacher. But I'm saying, I wouldn't have been able to get on stage and be a minister if I was out here lying to people. Like, if I was out here doing that, there would be people that grew up with me who would be on here saying, this dude is fake. I know him. He's fake, right? He's not real. He's not even saved, never been to church. He's a con artist. You would get that. You don't get that, right? Nobody's saying that. In fact, everybody that knows me, even the people who disagree with where I stand now, they still say the dude is 100. They still say he always had my back. I always did. So I don't feel like I'm standing in a place to where I have to prove myself, because if I have to do that, that's sad. I'm asking people to care about the world, not what Kevin going to do with the money. If Kevin going to do something with the money, people could easily just see if I'm lying right now. If they say, man, I don't trust this guy, then give me $2 and see what I do with it. See if I actually feed the world. Like, think about it, Josh. I got 200,000 followers easily, right? On Facebook, easily. If they all gave $1, I could go out here and make a real change just in my immediate community, just immediate. And I'm talking about a change that's so big, it would be in the newspapers, magazines, whatever. If they gave $1, imagine if they gave $2, $3.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what would they be out of? $1 or $2, $3? But what would so many other people receive from that? You see what I'm saying? What is $1 when you think about it? What's $2 when you think about it? When you really think about it, it's 4 quarters. You can't give me 4 quarters so I can go out here and feed the world, but everybody want to hear me talk. You see what I'm saying? And it's like, at the end of the day, it's like, I'm tired of going viral. I'm tired of people, that say, I want to hear what this guy has to say. Like, I'm trying to help people, y'all. Like, I really want y'all to understand that. I'm trying to really help people. I think that if we can show the world how much love we really have, they will understand that we're not out here just saying we mad at God. Thank you, Nubia, for your donation. Thank you so much.
That's what we get very often. It's like, oh, you're mad. Like, you just want to spend your time being mad at God or you're emotional and things like that. Granted, we have, our purpose is not only to free people, because a lot of people obviously tell us, you helped us on their, you helped me on my journey getting free, and helping my family. And that's important. That's very important.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, we don't want to just regurgitate the same message, and we're not actually producing something tangible for people to be behind. Because, this is good, but at the same time, there's going to be people that just turn away from this, and they're going to say, what is he actually doing for the community?
And they do. I mean, it's crazy, dude. As soon as I speak on what these churches are doing with this money, they say, what are you doing? I'm like, y'all ain't even gave me a chance. Like, y'all haven't given me a chance to show y'all what I'm going to do. If I'm telling y'all I see a problem with what y'all think is really working for y'all community, why not give a brother an ear? They'll at least hear what I'm saying. Wait a second. This dude is saying that he can help our communities more than all these church establishments that's already been here. We've been giving them a chance. We give them a chance every time y'all take y'all tithe and stuff to these churches. Y'all are giving them a chance. And what do? Right? It's like, if we are going to cause and create change, we have to be willing to step out here and do this, man. If I'm lying, y'all out of $2,
right,
$3. That's all you out of. If I'm walking around rich now, to all these people who are Christian, you just saved the world by exposing who I really was. And now nobody else will care what I got to say now, because obviously I wanted money and that was it. You would be proven correct. You would say, this guy is only doing this for fortune and fame. Now, look at what he did now that he has it. You would be able to say, I
told y'all he was a false prophet.
Exactly.
Right.
I think they're like, in a way, man, I think they know. I think they can see right through me, and they know I mean what I say. And I know they know if I get out here and do this stuff, they're going to have to answer to it. Like, why is this dude don't believe in what we believe in? But he care more about the community than these pastors out here. You see what I'm saying?
I told you, I've said it before. The only way you're going to, this is for all you Christians. I'm giving you the code. This is the key code of breaking Kevin Wesley down. Give him money. Have the receipts. Watch him squander it on some BS. That's the only way you're going to expose Kevin. That's the only key.
You definitely can't prove Jesus is real or anything like that. I mean, if you want to show my character to be negative, then prove it. Give me an opportunity to change the world and see what I do.
Give Kevin some money. Get him around some strippers or some cocaine. See if you can record them. That's the best way you're gonna expose Kevin. I'm trying to be transparent. I'm giving y'all the keys to success here. Do something.
If I go out with cocaine and strippers, that's just top notch. That's just dang.
I know. The
conscious community forever.
They go, like, we don't even call ourselves like that, but it's like, we're gonna still tie you in, just like they say Kevin's atheist. Like, we're gonna tie him into atheist. We're gonna tie him to consciousness. Like,
I want to say this real quick. Somebody said, teach people how to create businesses. I'm a firm believer, and I've said this before. I don't believe in giving a man a fish and letting him starve the next day. Teach him how. Just imagine, guys, if we are raising funds, we could go right to your own communities and buy the buildings and I'm talking about people who have degrees in terms of, salons, beauticians, all that, who can go in and own a hair store, things that can actually help your community right away, and also bring income for us to be able to put you in those places to have those things. Too many people right now, they go to barber school, and they get out and they don't have the funds to be able to start their own business or whatever. Even after you work for somebody for a whole year, you don't have the capital to do it. I want to be able to give you guys, even the small businesses first, and then grow from there. I honestly don't know why churches don't do that. If I'm a church, my whole goal is to help you grow. Especially if you're talking about, if it means your tithe increasing, when your money increases, that means we can do more for the community with the money because your tithe increased. So why wouldn't you, help the business owner, the small business owner with enough capital to start their own business or to get that truck they need? You see what I'm saying? To be able to do that long haul truck driving. If it's going to yield more income for that person and families and help out that many more people, it's silly not to. You see what I'm saying? It's silly to take all this money that these people are bringing you and go out and just squander it on whatever. Like, we always talk about building a community. We always do. But you gotta get the Black Wall Street back. Gotta get it back. Right. Absolutely. Thank you, Peter. And again, like I said, it really makes me question what is it that we really wanting? What is it? You know, because it's all good that you guys love me and I love y'all back, you know, but at the same time, I'm about business. I'm really trying to fix the world and save the world. Like, I'm really trying to, and I really believe that we can do it. Call me crazy, you know, because I spent the whole first half of my life believing in spooky stuff, right? Stuff that I've never saw, and I haven't technically saw us get together and change the world. But I do believe we can. And when people ask me, what do I believe? The crazy belief that I have is that we can actually get together and do something that nobody else ever did. And I think that would be beautiful for us to at least be able to say we got out here and did something that nobody else thought we could do. We did it with our funding, our effort, and caring enough to do it. So
I think just last week a Christian was laughing. I was like, when we said we wanted to go, you know, feed the world and do all these things, he was like, "How you gonna do all that without God? Like, what is this dude talking about? Like, without, and that's not just any God. It means His God. Like, how are you gonna do that without my God? You can't make that happen without my God,
right?"
So, and like some people believe this. People really think this way, and until we get the type, it doesn't have to be obviously what Christianity gets, billions a year. We don't need that much, obviously, but
thank you, Sean.
Something, you know, good enough so we can make an impact and show it to people that you don't have to be in a church, like, to do these things. You don't have to put your, you know, money behind a pastor, you know, to do these things. And that we can actually come to some kind of unity together, because a lot of the times we'll see these conscious, you know, well, I would say a lot of the times, because the conscious community is still small, and I hate saying that word, but it's good to show us coming together in solidarity for something. So, what's up, Jamar? I got you. Huh?
Peace,
peace. What's up, Jamar?
Peace.
I would expect you the next Sunday, man. It's good to have you on, brother.
All right, good to be back, man. I literally just walked in the door.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Heck yeah.
Yes, what's up?
But today, man, we talking about the concept of God, what it means to have this concept, how we got it. Just now, we were just going into a little bit of some things that we're offering in terms of my nonprofit is incorporated now. It's ready to rock and roll. So now we're trying to feed people. So I was just talking to him a little bit about that. But while you're right here, somebody asked, Kevin, are you saying that there is no God? Again, when you ask a question like that, we're talking about this concept of God. The only reason you even have that word, that you were taught that word. So you're still asking, is there something by the definition of God, something that would apply or attribute to that word that we've been given? And the answer is no. There isn't. No, there isn't a God in terms of a character outside of you who judges you, wants you to do something, wrote a book. No, there isn't. I'm sorry. That's made up. The idea of God is pseudo in itself. Let me say this. Okay. If you talk about Marvel, you got Capcom, you got all these places and all these companies, and under them you have different superheroes, right? So if you take Marvel, you got all their superheroes. You got Capcom, you got all their superheroes. Well, they're heroes. We call them heroes. Well, gods are not heroes. So when you say Greek gods, these were gods. I'm talking about the same way your God is believed in today. Zeus was at one point worshipped. Dionysus was at one point worshipped. These were literally gods, and now they're not anymore. So again, you're asking, is there no God? Since the beginning of gods, we've been replacing them with newer, more stronger gods, if you will. And now we're still asking if the original meaning of the word exists. No, there isn't. I'm sorry. In terms of there being a person outside of you who wants something from you and wants to bless you and created a hell if you don't do what it wants. Just think about that. Why would something that
makes no sense?
No, like a powerful thing that's all powerful would then need to make you and then need something from you. Like, it made you. Why would it need worship? And I asked you guys earlier, why does bending your knees mean praise or submission? Men taught you that. There's no way a God is going to create your legs and say, yeah, and when these bend, it means submission. That's stupid. Right. It's stupid.
The funny thing is, it even says in the literature, you can't do anything for God. You can't, like, what are you going to do for a God?
Right, he's supposed to be needless. but at the same time, he needs or wants or desires your worship. And to desire anything is to need it. It means that you're not sufficient in yourself. You want something outside of yourself that you don't have. Worship. That's crazy to me. A God would demand worship. What you need to be worshipped for?
It doesn't make any type of sense whatsoever. And it's amazing. Like, I think about it, like how long I actually believed it. It's like, yo, like I was really that dumb for that long of a period of time. And when you look at it, it's like, yo, if he's all powerful, he has all these abilities, he created mankind, right? Let's just start from the beginning. He created man, right? And then in order for him to create woman, he had to take the rib from a man to create woman. What sense does that make if he was able to create man from scratch? Why would he need a woman's rib, a man's rib, to create a woman? It doesn't make sense.
Absolutely.
He could have just made the woman from scratch as well. Like, why would he need something from the man to do that? That's just silly. And it's like, yo, okay, in order to save the world, here's the instructions that you got to do. I'm going to put it in this book in order for us to reclaim, you know, the world because it's so sinful. It's like, yo, but you created sin. So all you got to do is dismantle that joint. Like, you got the antidote for all that. That does not make sense whatsoever. The only way it would make sense is if God is actually the devil. That's the only way that this thing actually makes sense. You know what I'm saying? And then that's when they throw the twist in your head, like, oh yeah, well, you know, he works in mysterious ways. Yeah, it must be mysterious as hell. Because at the end of the day, when you look at the concept of God, by saying that God exists, you are essentially saying that Santa and everything else exists. At the end of the day, God is the equivalent of a Santa. He could be as real as you want him to be. At the end of the day, as soon as you don't want to deal with him, he don't have to exist ever again. You know what I'm saying? And like the last time when I told y'all, is he all powerful, or is he all loving? He can only be one of the two. He can't be both. Because if he's all powerful, that means he encompasses love and hate. He encompasses good and evil if he's all powerful. If he's all loving, then that means he is limited and can only do good things. He can't do evil. So that means he can't be all powerful. It's like you just gotta just put the pieces together and just think logically for a second, you know, and get away from the spookism. That's when they deter your mind to think about, okay, well, he's done all these great things and he loves you and he loves you and he loves you, and they work on whatever vice that you may have, or whatever open door you might have for depression or just feeling low about yourself, low self-esteem. They feed off of all of that. You know, it's why they give you sandwiches and they want to clothe you and do, you know, all of this type of stuff to make you think that God actually did that and he's working through them. It's like, why would he have to work through? He could have just came down and just did that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, God created animals with fur. You got me out here freezing. You know what I'm saying? Like, that don't make sense. Like, let's just really think about this for a second. Let's rationalize and write some stuff down and see when you write it down if it makes sense to you.
Jamal, how about this?
That's how it helps.
A lady asked me, if God is not real, Jesus is not real, why is it that when I go to church, I feel stuff? And I mean, just simply feel stuff. And I said, so you mean to tell me God is all powerful? So if he's all powerful, it literally wouldn't take him more energy to do one thing than the other. And you mean to tell me that he cared enough to give you chills and let other people die and starve of hunger? You see what I'm saying? Like, he gave you chills through your body, and now you believe God exists when somebody else right beside you got cancer right now. You see what I'm saying? And he cared enough to give you little bumps on your arm, but they still dying of cancer. Or the very person who is sick and has cancer get chills and shout around the church, but still leave with cancer. Like, as if the Holy Spirit or God said, I'm gonna touch you, but I ain't healing you. Like, it's just stupid. Yeah. The power of God should be so mighty that if it touch you, like, okay, the woman had an issue of blood. She bled from her vagina nonstop, right? She had an issue with blood. And she said, if I could just touch him, I know I'll be made whole. She touched the hem of his garment, his clothing, and was instantly made whole, right?
Yeah.
So this was when she touched clothing. How many people say they've been touched by God himself or the Holy Spirit or Jesus himself, and they still walk around sick? And it's like, but for you to be touched by God, God would have to intentionally say, I'm going to come in and make you feel good, but I'm intentionally going to leave you sick. Like, I'm going to touch everything, but I'm going to leave you with that cancer or that goiter on your face or whatever this disease or whatever extremity or ailment that you carry, you keeping that. But I'm definitely going to touch you and make you feel. Yeah, prescription. Yeah, you still you go right home to the same crap, but you jumped up and ran around the church.
Or I'll make sure your rent is paid this week or your car note, but you still gonna have cancer though.
Right. And here's the thing. They say stuff like, God gave this to me so his glory can be made whole or be known. Like they cite the passage from Saul, meaning that God put a thorn in his flesh. And because this thorn is in your flesh, I can now be made great through your flaw. So through your flaw, your shortcoming, I'm now going to be made great. Why would a God need to limit you just so it can appear great? You see what I'm saying? It's just, it's stupid. It's like to think that an all-knowing, all-powerful being, an all-intelligent being would do, like the all-intelligent being sent a demon to torment Saul twice. Twice, Jamal. Twice. Yeah. What's the reason? Why would you need a evil being? Why would you need a demon? Why would God use a demon to do anything? I thought you didn't like them. You kicked them out of heaven for a reason, and now you still sending them on missions to torment people. Go torment him, and the demon just goes and does it.
This is the problem. We're taking this stuff literally. Like the average person that didn't know anything about a God, if he didn't know anything about a God till he was in his 20, 25, 30 years old, he would say, "Oh yeah, this must be allegorical, this concept." Like he would be able to piece this together. But when they train you from young to believe these are real beings and this stuff really happens, people will overlook the obvious, the obvious variables in this situation, and really believe that this really happened. Like this being has this ability. It does not make sense in any sense of the word, no matter how you try to piece it together. At some point, all I tell people is, listen, you can believe whatever you want to believe, but at some point, you're gonna have to prove what you're talking about. You're gonna have to prove something to try and convince anybody else to believe it. If you can't prove it, you can't expect anybody else to want to follow your doctrine when you can't show and prove. Even if it's a life and death situation, you can't even save a life with that if necessary. You're saying that you have the almighty person on the horn, the most powerful being in the world. You have a personal. That's the big one. I have a personal relationship. That means nobody else is involved in the situation. It's just you and him. That means you should be even more powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Jamal just disappeared on that, didn't he?
Personal relationship.
I know he's cutting out a little bit.
Oh, okay.
It's like people are saying, yeah, they have a personal relationship. You have a personal relationship. That's deeper than a student and a teacher. You get in bed with this person if you have a personal relationship. They should come through at every aspect of the word. They come through for you. And I haven't seen it come through, especially for black people. Like, don't get me started.
Seems like it never worked out that way. I was gonna say this right here too, man. You know how we always say that there's power in the name of Jesus, right? Oh, how I love the name Jesus. Just by saying his name, demons have to flee.
Right.
Of course, by the time, Jamal, you and I had gotten old enough, we believed this, right? When we said this name, we thought it had power in it. I know
where you're going.
Yeah. So, me and Josh talked about this the other day. You got the name Jesus, and it's looked at as a powerful name. Josh, I'm sorry, Jamal. The very first time, are you there? I know it's yeah, Jamal.
I'm here.
Okay,
I'm here.
The very first time that you heard the name Yeshua, what did you do?
I didn't know what it was. I was like, who that?
Okay, now hang on, time out. Whoa.
That's perfect. That's so perfect. That's perfect. And that's
no, because this is what they all say. So you just was like, who is that, right? So okay, what I'm saying is if the name itself has power in it, how come the first time you heard the name Yeshua, you didn't jump out of your dang chair? Like the first time, the very first time somebody said Yeshua, you're supposed to be like, oh, like the very first. I'm serious. Look at you. No, seriously though, like,
you're right, though.
If the name truly had power, right? Why do you have to learn the name and then again go through word association? You've been calling your God Jesus your whole life. Now all of a sudden somebody said, that ain't even his real name. There was no letter J. His name was Yeshua. At that moment, you're supposed to be like, oh, snap! Like start going T-Pain up.
Your face is supposed to go.
You laughed, dog. You probably did so. Your screen went black. Yeah, like you're supposed to just got instantly like just be blasted out of your seat as soon as you hear the name Yeshua. But this does not happen for people. So it can't be that this name just has all this power in it. Maybe the power is in what you attribute to the name. See, if Yeshua has walked on water, if Yeshua has healed you and raised somebody from the dead and died for your sins, you might hear the name Yeshua and feel love and power with that. Like we once did, once we learned the name Yeshua and started associating all the attributes of Jesus over to Yeshua now. Because I went from calling him Jesus to Yeshua. I was like, I'm sorry for ever calling you Jesus. That's not your name. I want to call you by your name. So I went on calling him by Yeshua. Right. But the first time I learned that name, I was like, his name is Yeshua. Like I didn't feel anything. I was just learning it. You see? And we always taught, like I said, we're taught that by this name, it's supposed to be, say what? What'd you say, bro?
I didn't know what the hell that name was.
Yeah, me either, bro. Like I said.
Talking about Yeshua.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, where are we going with this? And this is why, like, I stress the importance of African spirituality and learning the sciences. So you realize that vibrations are everything. Vibrations is what put together this whole planet. So the name has power. Then, you know, as soon as you use it, it should make water just do something crazy. It should make the natural elements like wind and fire just start moving around. And we don't see that. Like. Let
me tell you something, bro.
Add up.
You know how the sun, we know the sun appears to rise and set, right? Going up and down, which is why we say yes, right? It says the sun says yes, it goes up and down, which is yes, sure, Yahweh, right? Right. So like, if you think about this, when you look at the word Yeshua. If you were to say, man, if I would say, man, you make a right left here, you trying to get to the Walmart, you're gonna go straight down, make a left on such and such, you're gonna be right there. I could look at you and say, you sure? Like it's like, you sure, right? It's still like saying, like, are you sure? Like it's still like saying yes. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so on an actual scale, this name is used often. People say it all the time. You sure? Don't not be happening out here.
You sure? That's right.
It should do something. You sure?
Every time you say that, yeah.
Because nobody's saying, are you sure? They're not saying, are you sure? They're saying, you sure? You sure? The same way. You sure? The same way. So why is the word
the same thing?
Right. It's not, the vibration of the word ain't doing nothing powerful though. And even when you say the name with intent and purpose, it's not doing anything. Why? And this is for Christians who say there's power in that name. Absolutely. It's all, again, here's why you know that. If someone walked up to you and said Dios to you and you don't know Spanish at all, you're going to say, what is that? Right? Well, if you say Dios, that we say God, if you say Dios to a Spanish person, that's God to them. That's a powerful word to them. Right? But Dios to you ain't going to mean jack if you don't speak Spanish. It's word association. Right, you haven't been taught to associate that word. You see what I'm saying? So you ask me, is God real? Well, what about Dios? Did God go to Mexicans or did God go to Hispanic speaking people and say that his name is Dios and not God? How'd that work out? You see what I'm saying? So
it's the power of the mind, man. The mind can create whatever it wants to for any whatsoever. Just like if somebody can say the word nigga and they can get mad, or somebody can say the word nigga and they can be determined. It's what it is.
The connection, I think, is choppy.
Just a second.
All right. I just want to make sure people can hear what you got to say.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. You know, that's the power of the mind. The mind is what creates this connection with words. Really have power. You know, it has nothing to do with the actual word itself, because I mean the English language is a bastard language anyway. This language didn't even exist during the time period that we talking about, as far as Jesus, and for us to say that, yeah, this is the words that they use to actually create the world. Like he said, like I said, God said, "Let there be light." No, he did not say, "Let there be light." Literally, it was a frequency and a vibration that created light somehow. You know, and what was it? It wasn't the English language. It wasn't what we're saying.
Right. What is light that it would know to create itself off any word that God would have used, even if it was Hebrew. Right. Light got a mind of its own. Oh, you talking to me? Oh, let me create myself. That's stupid.
Yeah. It's like we just gotta we have to be smarter now. In this day and age, the spookism's gotta go. And to be honest, you know, the free thinkers are winning now. It's not even a battle anymore to even go back and forth with these people, because the average person now, even the one that's sitting in church and paying offerings every Sunday, they know. And they just going through the motions right now. They just need a reason. Like, if we taking away Jesus from them, we got to replace it with something. They're not just going to leave for any old reason, because they have relationships built, and they have, you know, things that come to play with this. There's perks to being in the church, right? You know, there's things that come with that, and they're not just going to leave for no reason. So, looking for a way out. They don't know exactly what that looks like, but they know that they need one. Not out yet.
So and I agree, brother. And I think that when you take a people who have been under this belief for so long, I think that becomes the hardest thing, because what I'm asked often is, Kevin, what do you have for the people now? You're gonna take this literature from them, and you're gonna take their hope from them, and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
And it's like, I get that people read this literature for hope. But what I'm trying to tell them is that it's false. You're reading this literature, and you're finding a way to make it work for you. It's a pep rally. You're reading about Daniel in the lion's den, and you're using that to benefit you somehow now. And here's the thing: it's okay to do if you understand it's an allegory. You see. But it's the same way. If you were to you could do the same thing with Jack and the Beanstalk or Little Red Riding Hood. You see, you can take these stories and take the parable in it and say, okay, I can learn something from that. But it doesn't mean that it's historical. And I think that's what's going on with Christians today, as they have spent their entire life believing that this stuff is historical. And so when you show them that it's not, that's not something that their mind is prepared to handle. And so they obviously think that you're there to pull them away from God, or you're that prophesied about Antichrist who's going to lead the world into a great fall away. And they rather assume that than believe that they may have been lied to about it all. And that's the thing that's the thing that gets me, because it's not like this literature is perfect. Okay, so if one thing could wake you up, it is the understanding that your God is supposed to be perfect. We know that. Your God is supposed to be perfect. The literature that's supposed to be inspired directly from God is not. That should be a direct contradiction. Directly contradiction. If a God, people say this right here, Jamal, and I know you hear this all the time. God never condoned slavery. God always said slavery was wrong. As God said, a man who steal a man and sell him should be murdered, right? Should be put to death. So that means God disagreed with slavery. Well, here's the thing. If God says a man that steals a man and sells him should be put to death, why would God also tell you how to keep your slaves? You see what I'm saying? If how to keep your slaves is you shouldn't steal slaves or shouldn't steal people, it should be like that. But they'll say, well, God was just telling people how to keep slaves because people were very barbaric at that time, right? And God was merely just trying to show them how to be fairer to slaves until they understood that slavery is wrong. But that's ridiculous when you think about that. You see what I'm saying?
To say that, they act like they didn't just hear what you just said. Like, when you say statements like that, it's like, yo, like, tune out. As if that doesn't make any type of sense, what you just said.
Right.
These are fair questions that a child, if you put it to a child's attention, will be able to pick up. How do you just explain this to a child? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that's the world, because they can understand logic real quick. until you scare them and say, well, that's what it is. Do as I say and not as I do.
Mm-hmm.
You put the fear, you put fear of God in them, like parental fear. You know, but if you actually try to break that down and try to make sense of it, a child will look at you like you was half crazy. Like, that's just common sense, man. You can't tell somebody to kill somebody if they keep slaves, and then at the same time tell them how to make your slaves obey you.
But see, they use this literature to say that God was just trying to teach them back in the day this, and I try to tell them, like, you got to understand that you believe your God is perfect and all-knowing and all-loving. A perfect being would not pander to the barbaric psychology of people just so they could ease their way out of something that's wrong. That's crazy. You see what I'm saying? I'm a loving God, but I'm also going to suggest that you stone people to death for having sex. You see, and this type of understanding, or stone a child because it's disobedient, and then
stone the woman.
Well, no, of course, but there's also a scripture where you can stone your child because they're disobedient. You understand? So literally, take your child and stone them with rocks, hit them with rocks until they freaking die because they're hard headed. And what I'm saying is this. People say, well, you don't understand. It says that you got to try over and over to get your child to obey. And it's only if he's super bad, if he's really, really bad. Like, why would God deem for him to be stoned, period? Like, at all. Like, there's never a reason for a whole community of people to sit back and hit another person with stones until they freaking die. It's really one of the most cowardly acts that can be done. For those of you that don't understand what stoning is, they dig a hole and plant you in that hole up until your shoulders, up until your shoulder length, so you can't block with your hands or anything. And they hit you with rocks about not too big because they don't want to kill you too soon, right? They hit you with rocks until you literally stop breathing. That's what, and you got to understand this, guys. Like, this could go on for hours before you would die. Lips, teeth knocked out. I'm talking about they don't stop.
Eyes,
like I'm talking about, if you guys could see what a stoned victim looked like, you would not be thinking that this God is wise anymore, because this was supposedly suggested by him. And if you say, well, they were already stoning people, they were already enslaving people, God just merely gave them ways of use. That sounds stupid to think that a God needs you to stone anybody. And I said this before. People say, well, how can you have moral without God? How can you have morale with God? When you have men who can cock back a stone and hit a woman for having sex and call her a harlot, a whore, under the anointing of God, that should create a major problem for you. That they can cock a rock back and hit somebody with a rock until they're dead and be doing God's work. I'm talking about that's godly. That is like God. That's godlike. That's obeying God. To God, right. That's godly. Hitting somebody that didn't do anything to you with rocks until they're dead. That's godly. So we got to get to a point where you got to question, did God literally tell people to write this stuff, or did man just write it to control people? It's obviously more likely that men wrote this stuff to control people. It's obviously more likely, but we rather choose to believe that God inspired man to do this. You see what I'm saying? And I'm talking about inspired to do it in such a barbaric way. You know, why stone people? Why? You know, why? Why kill all the Amalekites? Why? It's silly, man. It's like, I God, who can do anything at any time, I can drown the whole world and just kill everybody if I want to. But I'm now going to ask humans to go around and kill other humans, right? But I'm also going to say, thou shalt not kill, so I can look good. This is the stuff that we walk around believing in and pushing on our loved ones and our children. And we haven't even inspected this stuff on our own in terms of trying to make sure that it really is the word of God. Like, you can't read through this stuff without having questions. And for those of you who say you can, you're clearly ignoring what's in front of you, or you're reading some type of a concordance that's telling you how to read it. And believe me, a God who told someone to write a book would know that all this information would be needed just so people can understand it. And if they don't have a concordance or somebody else to teach it to them, they will understand it incorrectly. So why use literature if it can be so misunderstood? Hey man, check this out. Jamal, Josh, you ever get in a conversation with somebody, y'all shooting text messages, right? How many times you ever say, let me just call you, because the text messages can be misunderstood.
Yeah.
Because you can't hear tone, right? And you tell people that over and over, let me just call you, because I know what happens at this point. You feel me? So what I'm saying is, God, who has a voice that can speak in everybody's ear at the same time. It don't even have to be loud and boisterous. It can be internally and we all just hear it. It ain't got to be loud. The universe can still be quiet. He don't have to yell, right? Mm-hmm. But instead, he read the text.
Right.
He read the text.
Right. He rather have other people read the text.
Yeah, he don't even send his own text messages. And I'm talking about, he don't even send people, like, he don't even have his own people text. And I'm talking about the people who did text for him died thousands of years ago. So we reading their text. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, we still forwarding their messages. Like, seriously, ain't nothing hurtful.
Okay.
And we post them on the timeline.
Yes, sir.
Like they got power behind them.
Okay. If you took your name, right? Let's just say you took the word. Let's say you took the word God out of the situation, and we put Kevin in there, and we said Kevin said, you know, to stone women, to, you know, ejaculate in your hand, or you like all this crazy stuff that you hear in the biblical text. What would happen to Kevin? What would we do? Kevin would be. He probably end up in the death chamber.
Dude, no, like, super quick.
Yeah, real quick. You know, I need to start. You know what I need to do? I need to get a camera, go out on the street, and start just saying quotes from the Bible, and start asking them, who do you think did that?
Exactly. Who said that? Yeah.
A black man or a white man, and let's see what they say. Mm-hmm. Let's see what they say when that happens, and then reveal to them at the end. No, God said that. Mm-hmm. and see what their faces look like when they see what's being said by their God.
Exactly, because they used to God saying stuff like, the last shall be first, and the first shall be last. That type of crap. Not, I'm gonna make you eat your children. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Like, you gonna make me do whoa, what?
Yeah.
Like it's just for a God to punish somebody in that way. It's like, what? You gotta be kidding. You have to be kidding me. Somebody said earlier, Kevin say that money is fake, but yet he asked for it. See how they hold me to every word I say? And that's okay. Mm-hmm. Because like I tell people all the time, money is fake, y'all. It's printed. It really is fake, y'all. It really is. Unfortunately, the matrix that we live in has fixed it so that we do need that paper. We do. We need that tangible paper. And I don't mean paper as in another way to say money. I mean, literally, it's paper. You know, so we do need that printed paper to be able to accommodate certain things for people that's in need. We do. So when we say that we need you to donate money, that's not to say that all of a sudden money is important in terms of needing the money. The money is not going to be fed to the people. We're not going to get them dollars and they're going to eat the money. So it's silly to even say that. Like Kevin say he don't want money, but he asking for donations. You think I'm going to try to feed money to a homeless person? Or I'm going to turn it into food and feed it to a homeless person? What y'all think going to happen? I think it's crazy to even use that, but that's what they do.
Right.
And what you just said is proof of it. If I had said any of these things, that if I had the attributes of God, all perfect, all wise, all knowing, everywhere at the same time, and I said some of the things that's in this Bible, people would say Kevin can't be all knowing because they have something to look at. But I think this is why they do this, Josh. They push the gods further and further from you, so they can be completely out of touch with you. And you can never question them. All you can question is people. And when you realize that the literature is bad or the people are bad, they say just because people are bad, it doesn't mean God is. Well, I've read the Bible myself. And if God really said what people saying he said, he pretty bad too. You see what I'm saying? And the actual fact is, even if he were real, he's still pretty evil. If this character existed, the way they say he do, he's still not a good person. You see what I'm saying? It was like, he's a good God. Yes, he is. He's an on-time God. Yes, he is. How is he an on-time God? Okay. And people been waiting for him for over 2,000 years. how can you even give a person like that the title on time? What does that mean?
Facts. I would never invite him back to another party I threw.
Heck no. Heck no, bro. I mean, well, I tell you what, if he can keep the party packed waiting on him to come, because I tell you what, like my brother, he does a lot of sponsorships for like clubs and stuff. And so they'll pay my brother to come just sit inside the club because people go to the club because he's there. Well, sometimes if my brother don't get there early enough, people leave. They ain't, man, the truth ain't actually going to be here. He ain't showing up. They just a gimmick, right? Yeah. You know, a lot of clubs and stuff who do this. They leave.
Yeah.
If Jesus on the card, man, everybody's staying. And it's just like a prophet at church. When a prophet come to your church, everybody stay longer. Again, bro, all you have to do is go have a title and the confidence of someone who says, God talks to me. And all of a sudden, you go into churches prophesying to people, and they standing in front of you with their hands like together, like can't wait to hear what you got to say to them. I'm talking about their posture is that of tell me something, I'm going to receive it. You see what I'm saying? Like, what did God tell you to tell me? Like, still on that pseudo stuff. And this man going to set up in like, the Lord said that you've been praying for something, that you've been seeking God day and night for something. He didn't even say what it is. You over there like, yeah, you're right. You talking about me. Like, dude, everybody doing that. What separates you from them? Yeah. You see, God said he's going to give you that thing that you've been asking for, but you got to trust him. What? So God sent you to just be random and say that thing? No, be specific, dude. Quit playing with me. And I wish that we as people would grow up to the point to where we're willing to confront men and women who are saying that God is speaking directly to them. But I don't care where it's at, if it's a church or whatnot. If somebody come to you and be like, God told me to tell you something, man, you better be specific. Because I promise you, that I'm saying, I'm hitting my fist like I'm about to freaking, nah, I ain't gonna hit nobody. But seriously though, I hate that. Don't come tell me to run around the church or scream out loud and God about to bless me. Don't you think the people who dying from hunger are screaming out loud? Don't you think they're praying? You got to really believe. What you think they're doing, you have to be sincere. If you're dying from hunger, how sincere can you be when you ask for food? You're dying from, doesn't God know that? Like, what you mean be sincere? Okay, so if God answers sincere prayers, nobody would have ever died from hunger, bro. No, if God answers sincere prayers, nobody would have ever died from hunger, period. Period. Because you ain't going to tell me you dying of hunger and you're not sincere in needing food. You're not about to tell me that. Oh, you definitely need some food. Your stomach touching your back. You dying, right? And he still let you die. But yet you said a prayer over here and tithe $5 and now you doing all right and you say God real. But what about for this person over here? You see what I'm saying? And it's like we use what happens for you in your own little personal space to make God real to everybody. And I'm telling you, as soon as somebody comes up to you asking you to do that, and it's based on their Allah God, you're not going to like that. But it's okay as long as everybody in here Christians. I talked about last week, Jamal, you would have loved this. During testimonial service, they have Sister So-and-so stand up, and she's going to give some bold claim saying that God did something in her week. Jesus did something during her week. And nobody's going to disagree with it. They're going to say, amen, right? Nobody challenges it. Now, okay, y'all going to like this. Y'all know how people say that's hilarious, right? That's hilarious, right? And they say it just with a regular face. And that's hilarious. Right? Josh, you heard this, right? Jamal, you heard this?
Of course.
All right, that's hilarious. Hilarious means to be hysterically laughing to the point where you can't breathe, right? You get that? Yeah. Now, to a person who says that's hilarious, you're destroying the word hilarious. Number one. Everything cannot be hysterically so funny that you can't breathe, right? So if you keep saying that, what's hilarious? So miracle, here we go. A miracle is something that cannot be explained using natural concepts. But sister such and such will stand up in church and attest to a miracle, and nobody will challenge that miracle. It's just miracles all around the building every week. Just miracles. Like, couldn't have happened no other way unless God himself did it. Like, that's what you're saying to me. You see what I'm saying? And they'll stand up and it'd be a basic story. Like a basic story. Like, I went inside the tire place and I tell y'all this, man, I thought I had to get 4 tires.
That brother came out and said, your tires just got to be rotated. All I needed to do was get 2 new tires. God is good. Like, you're telling me that means that Jesus walked on water? You cannot make a claim like that, mean that something else happened that was 2,000 years ago. And when you ask a Christian, why is Jesus real? Why do you believe Jesus is real? They use stuff like that. Okay, I grew up in a house that was poor and there was always food on my table. That don't make Jesus exist. I went to prison and I changed my life around. That don't make Jesus exist.
I know he's real.
Like, you thought that?
He's real to me.
You can't tell me nothing, Kevin.
Man, you don't understand.
Experience.
No, Josh, you don't understand. Muslims get saved every day. That don't make Jesus exist. You see what I'm saying? Like, okay, Christians convert to Islam every day. That don't make Allah exist. You understand? Like, people believing in something doesn't make it exist. Like, we have to understand that it doesn't work like that. And this is what has happened for us. If somebody told me the other day, well, what do you say about people who have dreams that they went to hell, that they saw hell or saw heaven? It's really simple. You've never saw somebody wake up in a country that doesn't teach about hell that said, I saw hell, and call that crap hell. Ever. How come you got to be taught about hell to have a dream or a vision about hell? Why do you have to be taught about heaven and heaven having streets of gold in order to vision heaven and see streets of gold and pearly gates? You're seeing what you've been taught to see. Nowhere has anybody ever woke up. Had a near-death experience, and they subscribed to a totally different belief and woke up saying, I had a dream that Yahweh talked to me. No! Stop! Half the people on this feed, everybody on this feed, called God forever. And when you found out his name was Yahweh, Yohanan was super duper shocked. And if his name is Yahweh, all this time God been talking to you, why didn't he tell you his name Yahweh? Why didn't he tell you that? Why didn't he say my name is Yahweh? Why? Because he don't talk. He ain't real. That's why. And it's really simple that we can be teaching that it's so crazy, Josh. I'm sorry I got to go in, but it's like we say Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. We all know that the letter J wasn't created. So if Jesus speaking to you, why is he not telling you that his name ain't Jesus? Why didn't he tell your mama who taught you that? Your grandma who taught her that? The slave master who taught her that? Why? Why? If he's speaking, he care to speak to you about your life in a freaking car, but he can't tell you that majority of the Christian world call him by a wrong name, made up by Rome. He doesn't care enough to tell you that. He doesn't care enough to speak up to you and say, don't be putting Christmas trees out. That's pagan. He doesn't care enough to let you know that stuff. He would just simply let you go along with tradition. You have to ask yourself, is he really real? You don't feel no power when you call his name. Stop lying. If you feel power, it's because you already know the name and have built word association. The first time you heard the name Jesus, you didn't jump out of your daggum diaper. And the first time you heard the name Yeshua, you didn't jump out of your drawers. You didn't. You were shocked to hear the name and had to learn it just like you had to learn anybody else's name. If the name had power, simply hearing the name the first time would have blew your mind. Why didn't it? It's so crazy, man. On a simple term, we got all this literature. These gods have been preached about and prayed to for how long? And they have yet to speak at all. And we're still arguing about, is Yahweh real? Is Allah real? Why is that even an argument? Yeah. Like, we're living in 2017. Like, we're living in 2017 and you still want to know if Yahweh is real?
I want to debate you, Kevin. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you my God's real. I'll show you. Come. You ain't got the courage to come debate me about it, though.
Yeah, look at why people watch. Absolutely.
Listen, I love y'all. I gotta go though. I'll be back on next week though. I just got in. I'm unpacking. I'm gonna call tonight. I love y'all, man.
All right, bro. Love you too, brother.
I love you too, man.
Stay up, man.
Yes, sir. Somebody said the tooth fairy. Why people watch say the tooth fairy is real. Them dollars under my pillow told me so. Absolutely. That's the logic that you have to prove Jesus is real. Or the tooth fairy is real. Is that there's money under your pillow. Your logic for proving that Jesus exists is that when you accepted him into your heart, you felt a good feeling. Well, maybe you felt a good feeling because you just thought you was going to hell 2 seconds ago. Like, literally thought you was going to burn forever. And you believed it so much you asked Jesus to forgive you so you didn't have to go. And now you feel relieved
from this fear of hell that you was just told about. Maybe that's why you felt good feeling inside. Maybe that's why. Repeat after me. That's what they do. Have you go up there. Would you like to give your heart to God today? Yeah. Repeat after me. What? How is that sincere? You repeating something after somebody.
Mm-hmm. And then they're going to go on social media. I gave my life to the Lord today, y'all.
Now, you ain't do jack, but fall for some crap. That's all you did. So I gave my life. You subscribe to a belief today. That's not your life yet. It's still a long time to go. Somebody said, it's lambing. Absolutely. If you guys don't know what that is, we have a video called, Speaking to Laminin, where this guy, this preacher, is saying that laminin proves that Jesus exists because the molecule or the cell laminin is shaped like a cross, and he used a fake computerized example of what the molecule looked like. And on this video, I had explained that none of these molecules look like what they say they look like. They do this just so they can classify them. And this man then posted up a picture of laminin to his whole big mega church and got everybody going crazy. And they didn't even care enough to go look up laminin before they started believing that laminin was the official signature from God. That I'm going to give you a molecule that looks like a cross. Like, really? A cross? When did a cross come into place? So you telling me when God created Adam, he already had an idea of a cross? That should already tell you a problem right there. So I'm going to give you a molecule or a cell in your body, if you will, that looks like a Roman cross that they kill criminals on. And also my son. No, that's silly. I mean, if that's the case, if everybody was under the belief that the thief on the cross was Jesus or was the Son of God instead of Jesus, then that cross would still solidify that thief as being God. The shape of a torture tool or a torture symbol shouldn't speak to anything. Again, I think we call this pareidolia. You see an image and you automatically directly associate that image. That's why you know a stop sign, even when it doesn't have the word stop on it. It's pareidolia. That's why you know a yield sign, even when it doesn't have it. It can be a black shadow. When you know it's a sign, you see that octagon, you know what it means because your brain associates. That's what we do. We associate. So when you see Jesus in the clouds, it's the cloud. It's not Jesus. Me and Josh did it, and I showed. It was somebody commenting about Jesus being in the clouds. Look, guys, it's Jesus. And I think me and Josh were sending them like pictures of like Godzilla in the clouds. You see what I'm saying? And it was like a viral video. Maybe it was just me, but it was a viral video. It was like a viral live video, and it was like thousands of people watching it or whatever. And I kept saying, that's called pareidolia. And they got mad at me. I'm just letting you know what it's called. Like, obviously, you know that's not Jesus right there, shaped like that dang cloud right there. Like, you know that. Like, you clearly know that. And to think that Jesus would even shape a cloud like himself instead of feeding people or doing something that can logically compel people to know he exists would be silly. I'm gonna make this cloud for the people who believe in me. That's what I'm gonna do. Blow. Peace. Yep. That's stupid.
And they said, what if it was a noose? Because some people say it's a noose. So they don't know. This is the thing. And people get mad, like at Kevin, because we go against the Bible. And we like, so how do we all get here? And we can't give a quick, precise, and small answer that they can fathom. And it's like, oh, well, you don't know what he's talking about. Like, we don't know. Like, you have to be, and you don't know. Even in your faith, that's why you have faith. You don't know. Again, the key word is know. You believe something, but you don't know that thing that you believe is true.
Absolutely.
You don't have any evidence for it, and you're going to get upset at Kevin because he's not going to lie to you. We don't do that. Sorry to tell you.
And again, why? Honestly, why would you even get angry with me? Like, I'm just telling you what it's called in the psych ward. No, seriously, I'm giving you the medical term for what it's called when you see an image that you associate with and automatically think that is the image that you associate with because you're used to one image. Psychologists do this all the time. They show you really distorted pictures and ask, what do you see? They're trying to see what you see because that's going to tell them something about you. Okay. So if they held up a cross for you and say, what do you see? If you say, that's the thing my Lord and Savior died on, they're going to look at you and say, okay, he clearly suffers from some type of delusion. I promise you, a psychiatrist would not say that, okay, he's logical. They're going to say he clearly suffers from a type of delusion. Clearly. Again, somebody says it's called mental health. Absolutely. If someone was saying that, the guy that went by the name of, let's say, Jason, just for the sake of giving a name, the name Jason. Okay, your God is Jason and he died for you and saved you. You running around telling them, can I pray for you in the name of Jason? I promise you, people are going to start saying you crazy. But if you say Jesus, it's okay. If you say Allah or any type of God that's now established as common, it can be accepted better. But if it's just a random God, no. I guarantee you, man, if I walked inside of a Hindu restaurant or a place where a lot of people are that don't subscribe to Christianity and just yell out Yeshua, I guarantee you they would just look around at who being loud or go on about their business. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to do it. It's a project. I'm doing it. I'm going to walk into a place, the mall, and I'm going to yell out, Yeshua! Like to the top of my lungs. And we're going to see what happens. Now, if people start breaking out, if everybody start breaking out and running, I would be like, what the heck? Oh my God, no.
They're going to faint, man. They're going to get the Holy Ghost instantly. Just the name alone.
Just the name alone. Give them the Holy Ghost. What would you even do with that? That energy that you felt. Yeshua once, and all of a sudden you start feeling some type of energy. What would you do with that? Especially if you don't know anything about it. Because right now, if somebody walked into the building, if we're in a mall, Johnson, somebody walk out and yell out a random name, everybody start passing out, running around, we're going to be saying, what the heck is that? Who is that guy? Like, he just yelled a name and all these people fell out, right?
Right.
Now, and I try to tell people, like, they don't understand word association. We about to end it, guys. So before we end it, let me give you an example of what word association is. Okay, let's just say run, the word run. Run, R-U-N. If I walked into a mall, if I told you to go into a mall right now and spell run, yell it out as loud as you can and spell run, what would people think that you're spelling or saying? R-U-N. Now, in your mind, you're saying three letters, R, U, and N. But if you yell out R-U-N, they're going to hear A-R-E-Y-O-U-I-N. Now, that's not what you mean because you're just spelling run, but they hear something totally different. This is word association. They don't know what you're spelling. If you say, hey, everybody, I'm going to spell run, you've now prepared them for your spell. R-U-N. And now they know it's a spell, right? They know you're spelling something and not to hear words. But if you just go in there and say, are you in? They're going to say, well, am I in what? What are you talking about? What do you mean, are you in? I know this because we used to do this crap at work. We used to tell people that we could challenge their intellect. So we would put a coin on the floor and you had to bend over and pick that coin up. And while you're picking the coin up, you had to spell run 3 times fast. And so somebody's on the ground, bent over with their finger on the ground, yelling, are you in? Are you in? And we all laughing like they're gay or something, right? Asking, are you in? Because they're bent over, right?
I would quit so fast with
this. Well, because I ain't working with nothing. Thank you so much, Riri. So here's what happens though. People are so adamant about proving to you that they're intellectual. They want to show that they can do it. And so they'll be spelling run super quick. Are you in? Or trying to show that they're so smart when really they're playing right into the game. But it's funny because when you think about this, again, I thought I'd use that example, guys, because it's word association. The same way, if R-U-N actually had power, regardless of how you said it, it should still have power to the person receiving it. So if I say R-U-N, or if I say Jesus, regardless of whether or not they know I'm saying something that means something to me, it should still mean something to them because the name's supposed to have power. Obviously, it doesn't. You see my point? It works just like any other word. If you don't understand what the word means, it literally bounces right off of your hind end. I could walk up to you and say the meanest crap in the world to you right now in Chinese, and it's going to make no difference to you at all. Period. You would just simply say, whoa, if I walk up to you and started speaking Chinese or some language like in some smooth, fly, suave type of way, right? and I'm saying something like, man, I'll kill you and chop your head off right now and spit on you. Like, now, but I'm saying this in a foreign language that you don't understand. You over here like, oh, snap. Oh, right. I'm over here threatening you, and you over here talking about, oh, snap. Like, it don't work like that. You see, you don't understand.
Like movies.
Right, yeah. Exactly. You don't understand my language. You don't understand my spell. So therefore, you can't respond to it. It's outside of your realm of knowledge, outside of your paradigm. You have not learned these words. Therefore, you can't respond to them appropriately. The only reason you're able to respond to Jesus in the way that you feel is appropriate, which is shouting, crying, feeling a good feeling, or whatever. If you could hypnotize a Christian and say the name Jesus, they would probably smile at the sound of his name. If you were to say the name Satan, they would probably frown at the sound of his name. This is all because they have been programmed, though. You see what I'm saying? Period. This is the same thing. If you put a person in a chair and you say Allah, if they are Muslim and they're under hypnosis, they would smile at that. Smile if you like this name. Frown if you don't like this name. Because they have been taught to do this. The same way you guys feel about Jesus, Muslims feel about Allah. You don't think that's a problem. And the question is, why don't you think that's a problem? You know, why do you think that that's okay? If your God is the name alone is supposed to have power. That's why we got to grow up. Because if the name of your God had power, you could just simply walk up to non-believing Christians and just say Jesus. And they just supposed to be like, oh, and get saved. You know, this is obviously not happening. So we have to grow up and start looking at these things differently. Maybe, just maybe, we don't need this concept of God. We have been taught that we need it. You got to believe in somebody in the sky. What if I told you that you just got to believe in yourself? And I know to a lot of believers, to a lot of Christians, this is nonsense to y'all. Y'all cannot even muster the idea of believing in yourself. I know you can't. But I want you to understand, you were taught to not believe in yourself so you could accept the belief in a God outside of yourself. You were taught that you don't make good decisions. You were taught that your righteousness is rags. You were taught that your heart was above all things desperately wicked. This is simply stuff that's in the Bible. You were taught that you were insufficient and you needed to accept someone who was sufficient, who could cater to all your needs. All of them, right? To make you dependent on this being. And so many people walk by and say, I can't go a day without it. I cannot go a day without it. And some people some people actually don't have these ideas at all and get along just fine. You see what I'm saying? So we have to think about this. If we're trying to think logically, you're accepting your belief based on this God is better than you and perfect and you need it, right? And okay, and now you say, okay, I can't be trusted because I know what the literature says. So God, I need you now. Then I need to trust you for every decision. That's weak when it comes to the point of logic because you have not met this God who's supposed to be telling you that you're worthless. Show me that you are worth something. Show me why you're saying I'm worth filthy rags. Show me why you're saying my heart is wicked. Because when I read your literature, I'm finding out that it seems that your heart is desperately wicked. I mean, you did harden someone's heart just so you could kill his children. And I mean, just so you can kill people's children who actually didn't even have a decision in letting people go. That was the Pharaoh's decision. You hardened his heart so you could kill the firstborn of every single child in Egypt, other than Israelites. You cannot tell me that you are a loving being. You clearly, okay, are in competition by doing all these different spells with Moses. You clearly are jealous, and these are things that we clearly know, but yet we still want to believe this being is perfect. We have to grow up. And I call it evolving because we still live by this idea that we need this concept of God. You really don't. You really don't. I look at the growth that I have seen from myself in just the past year, and I promise you, it's more than my whole life. You know, 4 months ago, I went vegan and I've lost 44 pounds, right? This is stuff that I did because I wanted to make my life better and be healthier for myself. I made these decisions and I stuck with them daily. And I haven't had anything meat or milk since I first put it down, not once, you see? And this is all because I made a decision. I didn't pray to some God outside of me to give me the strength to do this. And I'm going to tell you what's crazy. You know, I used to bodybuild. I used to be in ridiculous shape, like ridiculous shape. Okay. And like, even then, you know, I use discipline. You say I use discipline, and I knew that was something that I had to do myself. So in life, where I would cut myself short because I believed that some God was going to help me with something, I didn't in the gym. I knew that it was based on me. You see, and I think that you guys need to understand that life is just like the gym. It really is. When you walk into that gym, you're making a conscious decision to change your life. You know it's not going to be easy, but you go. You lay down under those weights, so you get on that treadmill and you work your butt off. And when you leave, you look the same as you did when you went in there, at least that day. But after a while, when you continue to keep on going and pushing yourself and challenging yourself, because it's never easy to challenge yourself. Okay, you lay up under that weight and you pushing it. It's really hard, right? It's really hard. And your muscles hurt the next day, you see, because you're challenging yourself. Your brain is a muscle. When you begin to challenge your brain, it's going to hurt the same way. It's going to create what they call cognitive dissonance. There's a movie where this robot, I guess what you call it, misfunctioned or malfunctioned because he was told to kill a human, and it was in his code that he could not kill a human. And so when he was asked to kill a human, his brain started sparking, right? And he started malfunctioning. This is what cognitive dissonance looks like. You have been taught your whole life that something's supposed to be one way. You've been programmed. And now you're finding out that it's different. And all of a sudden, your brain is like malfunctioning. You don't want to hear it, and you act out in an angry way. You know, so it's mind blowing. Again, when you think about it, you walk into a gym, you challenge your own personal strength where you were right then. It's the same way. When you become what we call conscious, it doesn't mean you know everything. It doesn't mean you do everything right. And this is exactly why Josh said I hate those words, conscious and other words like that, woke and things like that, because there are people who belong to who we call conscious, the conscious groups and woke groups, who we personally wouldn't be caught acting like, who we feel like probably make us look bad. You know how we like to use that terminology, but we don't like to use that. But the fact, to me, conscious and woke means that you're willing to at least challenge your paradigm. At least you go into the gym. You're not where you want to be in terms of maturity wise and handling life the way you want to handle it. But at least you actually taking the time out to go to the gym, at least. And you can look at me like your spotter, right? I'm here to help you push the weight if you can, somewhat. And I want to look at you guys like my spotters. Y'all here to help me push the weight somewhat, but you have to be willing to challenge it. Again, a person who walks to the gym and gets on the treadmill is someone who said, I understand that I need to change my life. I need to change my body. I need to change my health. You have made a decision, and you know that you have to go to this place, get on that treadmill, diet, take those vitamins or whatever it is you're doing in order to create that change. You understand that the catalyst is you. You are the beginning. You are the origin of hitting your goals. You are. And until the moment that you put yourself out there to do it, it ain't going to happen. You see, you can pray to lose weight all you want to. You ain't dropping a pound. Okay. You can pray to get muscles all you want to. You ain't never about to you ain't never walked with no man and said, man, how you get your chest like that? Oh, bro, I pray all the time. I pray on it all the time. That's stupid. It doesn't work like that. Okay.
I had faith.
Yeah, faith. I had faith, and all of a sudden my chest just grew, my arms just grew like this. No, it does not work like that. You have to work for what you get. And this is why we're telling you, it's about in here. It's about in here. Wake up, take control of your life and change it. I want to feed the world. I want to free people from religion. Am I not doing those things by my actions? This stuff ain't just happening for me. I'm not just sitting here all of a sudden people waking up because I thought about waking up. You see what I'm saying? I took the time to make this video and said, I'm not believing in this crap anymore. I could have said, I don't believe right now, God, but I'm going to wait on you. I could have said, God, I got questions right now, but I'm going to be patient because you said those that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings just like an eagle. They shall run and not weary. They be weary. They shall walk and not faint. I could have prayed that same prayer and said, I'll wait on you. But I understood something. This is not working. Okay. And when I read this information, it blatantly contradicts itself. And there is absolutely no proof of any of this stuff. At that moment, I had a decision to make. And that decision required me to do something. Right. It's your turn. The ball's in your court. I took religion from you, or I'm helping you to get rid of religion. Now it's up to you what you're going to do with that. I don't want to give you something else to run to. I really don't. Like, I don't want to say, okay, you should believe in this. I want you to say, I'm going to be a thinker. That way I don't go into anything else, pseudo again, just because it sounds good. You gotta think about anything somebody tell you, and and challenge it. You can't just be accepting stuff simply because it sounds good, because that's how it happens. That's how manipulation happens. Something sounds good don't mean it's true. If Josh said, Kevin, man, if you give me $1, I'll give you back $100 tomorrow. That does sound good. That don't mean it's gonna happen though. At some point you got to start, saying, prove to me this. Prove to me that you coming up to me and you believe in your literature enough to come up to me and offer it to me. So prove to me. At what point did you accept this belief? Why are you so sure that this belief is real? What gives you the confidence to come up and teach it to me? What if you're wrong, Christian? Like, Christians get to ask us that questions all the time. But why can't we ask them what if they're wrong? There are other religions, guys. We could simply say, what if you're wrong? But they get to ask us, what if you are wrong? Well, my religion is right. No, that's not what I asked you. I asked you, what if you're wrong? Because everybody's religion says theirs right. Well, I know mine is true and theirs is false. That's silly talk. And if you're talking like that, we don't need to be having a conversation. So you can't come up to me and ask me, Jack, if you can't even explain to me why you believe in what you believe in. You see what I'm saying? So I think that's what we need to start doing. A Christian come up to you and ask you what made you walk away from Jesus, what made you stop believing in it, and say, oh, that's an interesting question. An even more interesting question is, what made you start believing in it? And watch what happened. They'll get mad because they haven't taken the time to think about that. And again, guys, I'm about to finish, but we definitely went over our time. I want to say this again. Go to www.kevinwesley.org, www.kevinwesley.org, and you will see that on there about the Giving Tuesdays. We're trying Thanksgiving coming up a couple of days, Thursday. So if we can have the funds there by Wednesday, of course, I will announce the winners on Wednesday, and I can be out here feeding people, for Thanksgiving and taking plates of food to people. Okay, and of course, this right here is the goal for this particular. I'm gonna call it a drive. It's my particular goal for this drive. It's 10 grand. If we can do that, we can feed people. We can get out here and take care of people, guys. $10. Of course, if you win the ticket, just go to the website. You'll see all the things that's offered there. Limo rides, really nice hotel stay. If you never visited Charlotte, come on to Charlotte and see what the city is like. Of course, I will be doing an event where I'm going to be performing some songs that have not been heard yet. So you guys will be able to witness that firsthand. We're going to have a good time. So, and if nothing else, contribute to seeing people be fed. Even if you can't give $10, contribute something so you can see people get fed. I would really love to be out here feeding people. Last night, coming from the Black Power Awards, Josh, I rode under a big under a bridge in Atlanta, man. Like, the whole bridge was just full of people sleeping up on it. Like, cold as crap outside. You see what I'm saying? And we're leaving a gala where people got on suits and stuff. You see what I'm saying? Like, we're talking about Black power. We're talking about building communities and helping each other and having each other's backs. But yet, when we leave this gala, there are people up under a building, up under a bridge, sleeping on the ground, bro. Like, on the ground. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And to ride by that, like, it's like that crushes me. And I'm like, I would love to be out here feeding people for Thanksgiving. It would really be nice, man. So I really thank all you guys who already did contribute to it. Y'all don't understand how much it means to me. Like, this means the world to me. When y'all say, Kevin, I follow you on everything, all that's good. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, have you ever donated to the cause, though? To actually getting out here and changing this world? Have you ever put forth $1? Not a like or a share, but have you ever, I don't know if it's just the time of going to PayPal or going to these other sites and clicking stuff. I don't know if it's just that or whatever, but someone said, I think it was Conscious Being said earlier, you can dig it through your couch and find $1. If I can't get the change in your couch and I'm sitting here giving y'all, I'm giving y'all information that's going to change y'all. Y'all come here for it every week. So it's like, if y'all believe in what I'm doing, try to show that y'all believe in what I'm doing out here. And if you believe in what I'm saying, I put it like that. If you believe in what I'm saying,
I think it's that, man.
And like you believe in what I'm doing. Say what?
I think it's the mentality. It's like, maybe other people will do it for me. Like, or maybe some people have issues financially so much that $2 is like the world to them. But you could probably trace it down to your spending horrid if you don't have $2 available once a month.
Right.
Once a month, you don't have $2 available. You need extreme help. You shouldn't even be watching Kevin West. You need to be watching some financial advice. You need to check out Boyce Watkins. Maybe we need to have Boyce Watkins on the show. That'd be dope. But you need some serious help in your life. If $2 once a month is
right.
too much.
Again, if you're in a place to where you have finances or whatever, and you're in a place to where you don't have access to finances, we can see how $2 is a lot. And there's places across the planet who don't have money at all, and we get that. But we talking about, we did the math on this, okay? It wouldn't require the world giving 10% of their income to fix the world. If we all gave $1, we could feed this world 10, 20 times, and also create a way where it would never go hungry again. And someone said earlier, people choose to be homeless. That's saying that people choose to be retarded. People don't choose that. People don't choose. These happen for such. A lot of them happen for things that they cause on themselves. But a lot of this happens because they don't have. They didn't get some of the opportunities you did, and most of them, believe it or not, somebody already put it there. Homeless people do suffer from mental illness. There you go. If you're thinking that people out sleeping on the cold concrete just out of sheer will, like I want to do this, like I don't want to, be in the Matrix. I'd rather sleep out here on the cold asphalt. Nah, I just, it's hard for me to believe that, and I'd hate to believe that it's so many homeless people who out there, and to even say that, to insinuate that it's all of them. It's like it almost gives you a reason to not go out there and help. You see what I'm saying? Because you feel like some of them are out there just off their own will. No, it's not our choice to judge. And if they're out there on their will and they're homeless, hey, they get a plate too. They're in the right place at the right time. But we cannot focus on that. We have to focus on the people that need help and get out here and take care of it, guys. Like, we can actually change the world. The same way we sit back and say, absolutely, thank you, Claudia. For all the people who sit out here and we say, if God exists, why does he let people starve? Well, we call ourselves gods, right? We do. We call ourselves gods. If gods exist, why do people still starve? If we are gods, why do we let people die around us every day and don't do literally anything to change anything? Are we gods, or are we just as petty as this character we read about, right? Having the ability or calling yourself a god doesn't mean you just change your life. It means you snatch greatness out of everybody you come across. It means you build everything around you. A god creates. That's what they do, right? We change for the better. We change. You impact people around you for the better. You don't just walk around saying I'm God just so you can say I'm God and have confidence in yourself. That's silly. What is confidence going to do when it comes to freeing the world? You're going to have a whole bunch of confident broke people? No, we got to change our situation, and that requires work. It requires effort. Somebody said, I spent $2 at the vending machine. Absolutely.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Like,
and look, and that's for a honey bun to drop. I'm dropping knowledge. You see what I'm saying? I'm dropping information that can literally change your life if you just take it and apply it. Things that can force you to help you to think your way out of religion, out of mental bondage. This is the real deal. I'm the real deal. And all y'all got to do is just give me an opportunity to let me live out and fulfill my destiny. Again, I love talking, and I can do this till I'm blue in the face. I love to help y'all. I've been doing it for a year. Do y'all realize it's been a year? A year. Okay, 1 year. And my financial situation has not changed. And I still, week in and week out, I'm right here with y'all. I'm asking y'all to have my back now. I don't feel like that's too much to ask. If it is, that really freaking sucks. It really sucks if that's too much to ask. But on that note, guys, keep that in mind. We're trying to save the world. All right. We're trying to change the world, and it starts a little bit at a time. We can start a step. We can start a step on that journey. Thank you, Deidre. We can start a step towards that journey this Tuesday and Wednesday. If you guys would purchase these tickets, but the raffle tickets in between now and then. And if you know somebody, share the information with them and see if you can get them to do it, and tell them I'm going to be out here feeding people. It ain't just to do it. It's just to, trying to give you guys a benefit. It's something nice to win. For doing that, but at the same time, it's like the people on the other end is going to receive the food. They're going to be more appreciative than I ever could be. So just keep that in mind. And that's all I'm going to say on that. And I'm going to ask Josh if he has anything to say before we go.
That's all. Let me ask you. Andre Boy said he wanted to call in for like 5 minutes. Is it going to be on the topic, Andre, or like something as we wrap up? I just don't want this to go, because I think he's supportive. He's supportive. So
thank you, Michael.
I don't want to. I don't want to do you dirty, man. We're just trying to wrap this up because
Thank you, Andre.
we got ADD on the internet. We got Vine and Instagram, so people really don't have the attention span.
Yeah, if he comes on, I would
hang on.
Okay. Coming on.
Yeah. We'll just try to keep it short if we can.
While he's coming on,
and that link is just for Andre.
While he's coming on, I want you guys to know that, of course, you guys do know that I have an album coming out, and you look for it soon on all the platforms. I'm going to be releasing singles at a time because I'm trying to do like music videos, artistic like videos with every one of them, so you can get the purpose of the songs before the LP or the album actually drops. So, again, for everybody who says, "Hey, I can't give $1," buy a song, and believe me, they're good. That's something I'm really good at, and I believe that you guys will really like it. Actually, you should probably see a first video or a song up next week as I'm done with many of them. So I'm actually finishing my album, but I haven't actually showed y'all any of my songs. You're about to hear them soon. I hope y'all enjoy. Please support and don't burn please don't burn my music. I promise you, I will show up at your doorstep, and it ain't gonna be the type of visit you want. So don't be like, okay, yeah, please show up, kid. No, it ain't gonna be what you want. It's gonna be this. No, I'm just playing.
It's funny because like when we first started and we asked for donations for the show, it's like, nah, don't ask for nothing, man. Do something else. Give us something. If now we got you something, it's like, oh, you still want money? Yeah, I put work in on an album. It's like, all you want is money. Like, wow.
That's what's crazy. It's like, man, people know how hard I've been working on this music. I spend all nights in the studio.
Yeah,
no joke.
I've been messaging Kevin all week, and he's like, "All right, I'm in the studio."
I can't do nothing. Like, I'm not playing. Like, I'm serious. Like, friends be like, "Bro, you don't even reach out no more." Like, when I tell you that, I cannot live off of donations. I cannot, and I have 3 children. And Josh be like, "Bro, you running yourself in the ground." Because I know if I can get an album done, at least maybe I can create some income for me, because the finances that I'm getting through donations is simply not enough. And I'm talking about not enough for me to live, not feed the world. My goal ain't for me to live off donations. My goal is to feed the world with donations, not live. And I can't even live. And that's why I'm trying to get you guys to understand. It's like, I'm on the receiving end of all your donations, and I know they're not that high. And so I'm telling you guys, I know firsthand that we can absolutely do better. And I'm not asking any one person for a lot of money. I'm saying we all can give $1, $2. Like, I have thousands of followers. If they gave $1, we wouldn't be having this conversation. So I want to show the world that we can really do it. What is $1 when it comes to actually knowing that we changed history? Like, we changed the world. We're the generation who said we care enough to get out here and feed the world. That would be dope to me. So, was my brother coming on?
He said send the link again. Hang on, man. Gotta be quicker than that. The commercial. You gotta be quicker than that. Yep, you got it. Come on, Andre, let's go, man.
Appreciate that, DeMarco. Better than the ring.
Yeah, people say like, "Yo, we need this show." We like, "I want you to get big. I want you to have this guest. I want you to have that." But I mean, most of y'all, we haven't even got support from y'all, like tangible. And like, there are a lot of people that do support. Y'all can see it now.
Thank you, Andy.
But it's like,
thank you, Sword Network.
The thing is, we have to get to a point where, obviously, we want to get to a point where we can have you guys share the videos just for encouragement for other people. A lot of people say, "Yo, I support you, dog. Keep up the good work." You don't donate, you don't share. We appreciate you liking our stuff, but you can't say you're supporting if you're not really helping us get the message out to help people, for one, and then you're not helping us feed people either. So it's like, I feel you and we appreciate you, but that's not going to keep this afloat. Like Kevin said, I don't want Kevin to have to do this. Like, if he's not going to get the support he needs to do what he needs to do, I'd rather him, we'll give him a different skill or trait, and we'll just put this on the archive, and this will be like a phase in his life. Because again, he has a family to support.
Ooh.
So, and we don't want to stop doing this. And I'm not giving the concept that we are going to stop doing this either, but I'm just trying to paint you guys the bigger picture here, the goal. Oh, for sure.
Facts. I mean, and here's the thing. I mean, I think it would be unfair for them to expect that I could continue. I mean, I told them a long time ago that, you know, if they don't donate, I'll have to quit this and go get a job. And like, honestly, when I was trying to put in applications, my name is enough to not get me hired. When they Google my name, that crap shows up, like doesn't believe in God or the Bible no more, all this kind of crap. So I would literally have to change my name just to get a regular job and go back to work. So it's like, that's why I say with what I'm doing, what we're doing, and the impact that we're making, it shouldn't even have to be a something that we even have to harp on. It really shouldn't. It really should be like a given. Like we are not freaking playing. We out here trying to like change the world for real. No jokes. Thank you, Dewan, thank you, Claudia.
All right, we got brother Andre.
Okay, what's up, Andre?
Hey, what up, y'all?
What's up, brother? Everything good with you?
Yeah, I'm chilling. So, if you remember last week when I was on the phone with y'all, my phone had cut off and I didn't get a chance to finish my point, but it's definitely on topic.
Oh yeah, you was the brother in the street, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's going on?
But
that's the best way to remember.
Yeah. But
thank you, Dion.
God concept, which I love to talk about with people who are still into that. See, the reason why it's never really going to die is because of the cycle that the powers that be has created for it to live. For example, homelessness, right? When you have no hope, the door open for someone to come and offer you God in order for you to have hope. For example, if most of us melanated or black people, how you want to call us, are in poverty, right? All of the churches are in the inner city. If we can count more churches on a 1 block radius than you would count in a whole city or a rural suburban area. You understand? And that is by design. At the end of the day, that's why I was telling y'all last week, in order for a lot of us melanated people to even get rid of the God concept, if you don't travel to the places where these religions were created and see that these white people don't do Jesus, they definitely don't do Jehovah, and they damn sure ain't doing Allah, then we will wake up.
Thanks.
And
I was saying earlier, we don't travel.
What y'all was talking about was basically the emotional attachment, but a lot of people don't see the actual physical attachment once you leave your neighborhood and go to the Greeces of the world, the Germanys of the world, the Italys of the world, and see that these people don't do God. If the people that created it don't do it, why are we doing it?
It was created for us, and that's what they don't understand.
Right, and this is why I laugh at Hebrew Israelites who would say the white man is the devil, but you're reading the white man's book. If the Greeks, if Ptolemaeus Philadelphus II never commissioned a Septuagint, which gives you the Codex Sinaiticus, the Codex Sinaiticus, the Queen's Mary Bible, all the way down to the King James Bible, we want to know who these gods were. You understand?
Absolutely.
And this is why the concept is hard for it to die, because us who are the believers are in the poverty state to where we have to believe in something. Because it's easier to pray to a God to help you pay your rent because you don't see how you're going to pay your rent.
And it helps you cope with that worry of not, it gives you somebody to give it to.
Right. God is the stick in the middle of the ocean that you grab onto to float.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? It is never the tangible thing. Like I have my own clothing company, right? And I'm about to do a t-shirt in a week.
Mm-hmm.
That is about to be so controversial. Y'all might see me killed. You might see we miss Andre t-shirts because I'm gonna say something that's gonna bring forth a conversation that no one is ready to have. But that's all I really wanted to say is because a lot of people don't understand. If you have the opportunity to go to any of these places, go and study like I did and realize these people never existed. And don't get cool with a real Ashkenazi German. They'll tell you, Andre, just like Abraham didn't exist, the rest of them exist. And if they didn't, that means a lot of things that we go by in history never really happened. And then you will realize this is how these said people got this money to own Hollywood, to own media. But no one ever speaks to that. And that's why I say it's a concept that will never die because now the laws are written behind it. Your actual living standards is written behind that. It's all driven off of God. If you go to a prostitute, she might work an extra day because she thinks Jesus might forgive her tomorrow. A drug addict might say, God might forgive me tomorrow. But if they woke up and understand that this may be the end, they might get off drugs if they understood they are the creator of their own existence. So with that being said, you know, I just wanted to chime in on that because a lot of people don't understand the physical element. When there is no hope, when you probably like Kev, no offense to you, but like you said, you lost your mom and dad early. It's easy to fall into church under that.
Absolutely. And dude, it was used on me. It told me he'll be your mama, he'll be your daddy. Like he will be who you need. And I made him that too. Like facts.
No one else loves you, Kevin, but Jesus loves you.
It told me, hey bro, told me I was the apple of his eye. That God knew could number the hairs on my head. Not, dude, that's like I promise you, bro. Like I heard the going to hell preach. Like that would make I would go up there and like I guess get saved, but it wouldn't last. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But dude, when I was taught,
And that's just the whole thing about it. You can't take someone out of their paradigm without them understanding who created their paradigm. Like even the dude see blood that challenged you. Listen to what he said. He's like, what if the white man wrote it? I'm like, okay, but you're talking about it starting in Africa. So that's a contradiction. But a lot of people have to hold on to it because listen, in the brain, there's something called norepinephrine, where if I snatched the last dollar out your hand, you will fight with the same conviction if I snatched your God out your hand. And if people don't understand that, it's easy for people, like, look how many guys y'all had debate you on this show, but they never had nothing tangible to give you. Oh, the Bible said, or you didn't say this. But they can't never give you fact. And that's just what I'm saying. Like, if it's been whipped into our backs for 400 years, 100-some years of Jim Crow, 30 years of civil rights, now we getting shot in the streets. And I know Jesus' alarm clock hasn't gone off yet. I know one day it's going to go off and he's going to come and say, oh, I got to save black people. But until then, we have to save ourselves. But the God concept is so difficult to break because of poverty, because of lack of hope, lack of education. And we have the strongest culture, but we have no culture because it's been taken from us. And then we've been given God. And at the end of the day, that's all I just wanted to really chime in on. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, you went in. I'm actually glad. I'm glad we allowed you to call in and get that off. That right there was powerful. We needed that.
Let me say something. For your Patreon, if you want, as soon as we get offline, I got videos that I do case studies on people with religion. Like how you doing it, I will send it to you.
Okay.
And you're going to pee on yourself laughing at the rhetoric of these people. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And I'm telling you, see, I learned how to move in silence and violence because just like how you lost yours, by me being in the music industry and the fashion, real deep light, I know it's not for me to say. You know, I've been lucky enough to really I'm going to tell you a quick story and I'm going to get offline. When I used to have this clothing company called Gilliard, right? And one of the biggest stores in Manhattan was called City Light and City Street. And these two Jews, Moni and Mayor Torgman, right? This one, I was just like you. I was a Bible-toting, scripture quoting, washing the blood of the lamb, Christian, didn't know no better, right? And one day I said to Moni, we was at the magic show in Vegas at the Rockaway party, circa 2006. And I said, Moni, could you teach me Hebrew? And he said, oh, Andre, I can't teach you that. It's the holy language. I said, okay. So one day, I go meet with him. I saw him at the Nike office on 52nd Street and Park in Manhattan. And I took him to the side. I said, Moni, I know why you don't want to teach me Hebrew. He was like, why? I said, because it's Greek.
Yeah, exactly.
He said, you little shits. I always knew you were smarter than you're supposed to be. He said, don't tell nobody that. I said, your secret is safe with me, brother. You know what I'm saying? But the fact of the matter is they know. And I tell everybody this. Find one of those people that you can trust from that side of the fence, and they will eventually tell you. It's just culture and discipline and tradition. That's it.
It's really facts, man. When you take the Greek alphabet, it's alpha, beta, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Hebrew is aleph, bait.
Exactly.
Right. It's the same thing. Aleph, bait, alpha, bait.
What people don't understand is that one of the derivatives of 12 tribes of Israel comes from the 4 tribes of Greece, the Ionians and the Masoretes and all these other people that no one really studied. You know, through the Masoretic text, or not even. What I'm trying to say is, okay, like you got the what you call, who gave you the vowel points, right? Mm-hmm. They gave all these religious vowel points. Like if you take a Quran in the middle of Afghanistan, they wouldn't be able to read it because the original Arabic is what? Fusa, right?
Absolutely.
So if you give them a Quran, they're like, what is this? And this is how you know that it's all doctrine. You understand where I'm coming from? And people need to study Pope Hernandez, Pope Leo X, people who started the Knights Templars, who eventually created Islam. You know, because I tell people all the time, the only reason why Islam is a little bit more in depth is because it is the last edition of both books. So they can give you, you know, the more in-depth Moses, the more in-depth Isa, who is Jesus. But if you really study the Quran, it is nothing but a map. There is a Lake Isa. There is a city called Haditha. People don't understand that. You understand where I'm coming from?
Absolutely.
And that's why if you look at all of these, Indiana Jones and National Treasures, it's always Arabian books and maps that's in that country. Why? Because that's all they did. They were hunters. They were pirates. They looters. You understand? And people don't understand that. You know, at the end of the day, it's all just mysticism, spookisms that is hard to break because either you got them whipping it to you or they got you being poor where you have to cling on to it.
Absolutely.
So, I don't think anybody's gotten a religion where they're in a good place in their life, like in a very prosperous place in their life.
Let me tell you something. I disagree with that, Josh, because most of the people who own most of America are people who practice it out of necessity. I mean, out of just tradition. But they have it. They don't believe it, but they have it. You understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah, I covered that. Yeah, like I said, like politicians won't get elected if they're not, if they don't claim Jesus, and
And let me, and this is my very final thing. Like, let's just look at Obama. He represented symbolism to us African Americans, right? And we voted for him off of a black family, a nice wife with nappy hair, and she's pretty, and he's, you know. But what did he do? Which no one
and to this day, if you say that Obama has not done anything, people will get mad. But it's like, dude, more people got shot and killed under this man's term. And more officers got away with that crap than any other president. But we'll still see a picture of them and share it. That's true black love. Like, that's stupid. We need to grow up.
You got more people you walk in their house with a picture of Jesus, Obama, and the wooden fork on their wall. Then you can actually ask them what they did. Because I can tell you, he defunded black colleges. Only 1% of black people got loans from banks under him. If that rise to the top, how many schools got shut down under him? And Obama was the actual preamble to the Trump era, which a lot of people don't want to touch. You know what I'm saying?
It's facts though.
And we just don't understand that. And once again, it's just it's the God concept, because your president is a lot like Jesus. Oh, we vote for him, he's gonna come and help us. You vote for him, he never comes. He never helps you. And people don't understand that, and that's just what we have to understand, is that the God concept plays a part in everyday life, whether it be your sporting events and, you know, anything. You understand? It's almost like it's a matrix beyond a matrix.
It's freaking unreal, and we make it easy. Like I'm talking about, we allow all these celebrities and politicians to be able to use this word, it's ambiguous word or generic word, I like to call it, God, and just throw it around. Like they went on a war. They say, first of all, I want to thank God. And to every person that hears this, it's like, okay, that means they believe in my God, but it don't. You don't know what they believe. They're just really just saying it because it appeals to a larger demographic of people and they want to sell their albums. In fact, most of these people, if you have a direct conversation with them, they're like you. They do not believe in this stuff. They've toured the world. They've seen the world. You see what I'm saying? And a lot of these artists, you say, okay, this artist came out, they was in a Christian choir, and now all of a sudden they dress this way. They don't realize this crap fake, and they pissed. A lot of them that travel the world, I'm talking about, they were celebrity artists and with Christian backgrounds. And that didn't travel the world, and all of a sudden they see this crap ain't real, and all of a sudden you start seeing the dark stuff come out because they realize that they ain't got to hold you this stuff no more. Now, you can call it Illuminati or whatever you want, but if these gods were real, we would not be in the situation that we're in right now with all these people walking away from it like they're doing. It's simply that they didn't exist, man. And people are finding, as soon as you challenge this stuff, you realize that you got nothing. That's the funny thing about it.
I always tell people the day you meet God is the day you question God. And the day you question God, you're going to realize the insanity that comes with you even thinking that there was one. Because if you're a father, Kevin, I think you say you have 2 children.
3 children.
3 children. Can you watch one out of your 3 children starve?
Heck no.
So how can God, who created everybody, can see people lying on the street on a daily basis?
Exactly. I promise you, me and Josh was just saying the same thing before we even turned this thing on. Like, facts.
The concept of it all, like, you know, I had a Hebrew Israelite threat in my life. Now, if you know anything about the Hebrew Israelite doctrine, right, they believe that the white man is the devil, right?
Sure.
Now, this man is dating one of my former homegirls who now lives in Italy and works for Gucci, and she's a movie agent. Mm-hmm. She's a white woman, right? But he's calling me an Edomite because my father was part white. My mom is black, right? Mm-hmm. So he was saying, I'm going to beat the shit out of you. And when I see you, and I'm laughing. Like, I just blocked his number. Mm-hmm. But do you understand the dynamic to want to kill me, but you're dating the devil?
Right, according to his own explanation.
According to his own
Absolutely. And they do this all the time. Again, that's why I try to tell them, man, if you think your literature is the word of God, then why does it separate?
Exactly.
Like, you know, that's so what?
I said to him, I'm like, listen, I feed people. I help out people. I said, but you ain't going to kill the white man who's shooting your brother. But you're going to kill Andre because he destroyed your Bible. So if we think about things like on that narrative, we're like I say, I'm a believer that most of us, like who's in this chat, if your eyes have been open, understand that you might only open 3 people's eyes at most, because the dynamic of what's going on with less money in this country, with less resources in this country, all they really have is God, their God, whatever it may be. You know what I'm saying? So that's it, man. I don't want to take up your time, but I appreciate it. But like I said, if you want some of them videos, I got some great videos for you, brother. I can
definitely. I'd love to see them though. Send them to me.
All right, just give me just have someone send me your email, or I'll put my email in the chat and then email me.
Okay.
You on Facebook?
Yeah.
You can just add me, Josh Upshaw.
All right. Do me a favor, just put in your the chat, and then I'll send it to you, and I'll just
all right.
let you know it's me.
All right.
All right, y'all.
Thanks for calling, brother. And to end it, guys, this literature tells us the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. A house divided against itself will surely fall. And we know the literature separates. So if the Bible says that a house divided against itself will surely fall, but then the literature is saying divide yourself, what's really going on? Why would the same literature that says do not divide yourself, because if you do this, it will surely bring fall, why would it then say separate yourself from this? It's almost to the point to where you become a minority simply because of you separating yourself from other people that look like you just because of a belief, right? It's silly, and that is not something that an all-powerful God would want. It would want you to come together and have unity in spite of mental blockages or things that, in spite of how you was raised. It wouldn't have you grow up and then argue about what your parents taught you. That would be stupid. If Allah or if your parents were Muslim, the God that you serve would automatically know that they were raised that way. And to have you grow up and learn your way just to go argue with them and fight, and like my man said, dude threatened his life. You really think that God would be in that? We have to grow up. We have to grow up. I love you guys. Until next week, I thank you guys for coming in. And again, keep in mind about what we're trying to do for Tuesday. Please go to www.kevinwesley.org. All right. And like Josh said, a lot of y'all been requesting people on the show. A lot of people I can't get to come to the show just off the strength of love. I got Jamar and I got, Lorenzo and a few other people who are willing to, Lorenzo, Zoe, people like that who say, man, I'm doing it off the strength of love. But not everybody is willing to do that or can do that. They have a lot of other stuff going on. So we have to be able to try to accommodate their time. So maybe I need to set up a fund for that so y'all can know, what we got, so we can just try to request people from that point on. But that's what we need to do, guys. If we're going to try to bring people, everybody just ain't about to come, because you got to understand, some people have way more followers than me. Don't give a about me or what I'm doing. We want them on the show. We're going to have to be able to come. Keep that in mind. And that's it, guys. I love y'all very much. Thank you, Andre, for calling in, man. That was powerful. Thank you, Josh, and thank you, Paul. Thank everybody for watching.
All right, thank you guys for the donations, everybody. We appreciate it. Yep. All right, y'all. We'll see you next week. Peace.